HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes. On a Wednesday, Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. I see this guy more than I see my family at this point. In the morning, in the eat, and then tomorrow we're gonna be at the game together.
All day.
No, you know I don't
All
mind.
day.
I love hanging with you.
All day.
Nate behind the glass. I gotta be honest. There are some shows where you're excited to do the show, but you're fishing a little bit. A show like today, there is no fishing and there is no wishing. The NBA is back. The Bronny conversation between Chris Watkins and myself is back, and it's going to get hot and bothered. That's in 10 minutes, okay? Did both teams, the Timberwolves and the Knicks, did both teams somehow lose the trade? The Knicks, on top of that, 5 picks for Mikal Bridges. He got prop talk set at 15 points. You gave up 5 first-round picks for him. We talk about everything we saw last night. Not only do we talk about the NBA that we saw, we talk about the NBA that we're about to see. Does the NBA have a problem with three-pointers? Every major league seems to have a problem with its gameplay in some capacity. We will talk about the NBA's issue. We will talk about Major League Baseball's issue. We will talk about the NFL's issue as well. Kevin O'Connor, who is infamous in the city of Sacramento, he says that there's a possibility that De'Aaron Fox may be a trade target this season. That's at 11 o'clock. All right, we talk about how nonsensical it is, or maybe it does make some sense. And Kevin Huerter, it is likely that Kevin Huerter will be the starting
Kevin
team.
Huerter.
Thank you, Patrick Beverly, when he returns. So what does that mean for Keon Ellis? What does that mean for the team? Yesterday during the Kings roundtable, I had to be the voice of reason as everybody was just that is what I call it. I wanted, by the way.
I just want you to say one positive thing about the Kings today.
But Chris, that wasn't my role yesterday.
I don't know why nobody had roles yesterday.
But
it was an
open
forum in which
you
could say whatever you please.
And my job, we had 5 people there.
Yeah.
Right. And I took it upon myself to say, hey, guys, I got to keep these guys accountable. Okay. Because we just can't have a love fest, Chris.
Why not? It's fine.
I knew what I needed to do.
Okay.
And, I think, like Jason said, we all played our part. And it was a beautiful night last night. And we're going to continue and bring it to a beautiful show. But with that being said, yes, Kevin Huerter, and Mike Brown explains why it will most likely be Kevin Huerter when he is healthy. But De'Aaron Fox isn't the only trade target. Mike Sando talks to a couple NFL execs, and they're talking about the Niners trading one Brock Purdy. Yes, we're having that conversation again. So like we said, and by the way, Sam Morrell returns to the Crest for a night of nonstop laughs. And of course, Sacktown Sports wants you in the building. We give those tickets away at 12:30. I believe it is Nate's turn to give away those tickets, to pick that lucky number. We go around the NFL later in the show. Of course, we have top stories. The NBA slate, no Kings tonight, but a very good NBA slate, or I guess it was supposed to be before injury. So we will give you all that and what to watch tonight. And in the last hour, Bleacher Report has ambitious trades for every NBA team. When I tell you you're not going to believe who they chose for the Kings, I mean it. Chris Watkins, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, excited for the league. Got a little bit taste of it yesterday. And, we're in the thick of it now. I mean, when World Series starts? Friday?
Friday, baby.
I mean, we got basketball kicking up. We got, NFL trade deadline. Mm-hmm. It's just, like you said, I mean, there's just so much to talk about It's really that season. It is that season, and we're here. So let's get into it. Let's do it.
Well, let's start here. This is when history was made, even though they sat there, and it was all a Nike stunt having
terrible.
Ken Griffey Jr. Sr. and Ken Griffey
Those poor guys.
Jr. there. And I know they literally
probably had something else to do. And
exactly.
Like,
don't get me started on that. But it was still a good moment. It is what it is. We've never seen it, whether it was kind of, I don't want to say manipulated, but manufactured. Manufactured. Here is when history was made.
History tonight, the first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game. This is all in the family.
Ball in the family.
And what a celebration for the James family. Bronny's brother and sister, his mom on hand.
Real quick, just on Bryce.
Yeah.
Because,
happy birthday, Zuri, too.
Yeah, Zuri's birthday. and again, it's all in the family.
All happening.
How much have you heard or seen about the Bryce? There's a group, there are people that follow basketball, or I guess loosely follow amateur hoops, and they say that Bryce is there's this conversation that Bryce is supposed to be better than Bronny. I think mostly because he's taller.
Yeah.
But then people that actually follow prep hoops says that Bryce is actually worse than Bronny. Are you familiar with any of that?
Yeah, I definitely see it every so often, and I've watched. I did watch a couple Bronny high school games when he was at Sierra Canyon, and I've seen Bryce sporadically. Never watched the full game of his, but yeah, I mean, I think it's mainly having to do with Bryce being taller. He's a little bit of a better shooter at that level, but Bronny is just like so much better of an athlete that I don't think it really matters. Like I think that Bryce probably isn't going to make the NBA. He doesn't really, I don't know. Yeah, he just doesn't really jump off the page the same way that Bronny did. And even then, Bronny, that conversation has been had to death. But I just think the athleticism for Bronny is like actually an NBA level athlete, and I just think that Bryce is maybe a little bit more skilled than him.
Well, when it comes to LeBron, and I don't think that we will see Bron and Bryce playing together, but
he's going to try.
You never know. Shams came out yesterday and said that LeBron wants to play. I think it was 2 to 3 more years.
Yeah.
So LeBron isn't going anywhere, at least not right now. And why would he, man? I mean, the guy's still balling out, doing his thing. I told you, Chris, the Lakers, this is what they do, the front runners that they are. They were going to come out, they were going to play well, and there's a cycle with the Lakers, all right? The Lakers, they play well, expectations get raised, then the Lakers start coming back to earth, and LeBron has no help. That's just what the cycle typically is for the Lakers, and we are here. We are at the point where the vibes are right. I thought it would be, I know he's a couple teams removed, but I did think Julius Randle, albeit with a new team and trying to figure that whole situation out, I did think there would be more of a revenge feel with Julius Randle. Didn't really have that too much with him. Anthony Davis, by the way, he balled out, 36 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists. Anthony Edwards had 27 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. LeBron, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. And Bronny played 3 minutes. He was a -5 in those 3 minutes. And all I know is this, Chris. Everybody feels good about the fact that we got to watch that. If Bronny made that 3, that would have brought the house down, man.
Yeah.
And did you hear LeBron? You could hear him on the broadcast say, pop that or hit that. Yeah. He passed it to him. And he said, pop that or hit that. And Bronny did not. And that was really the only missing
area.
Sure. If you just hit that shot, I mean, it's out of control. And I think the haters would still be there. But at least we could say, oh, man, that was a really good moment. Because without it, I mean, I was texting my buddies about it. It was funny because I think JJ wanted to make it look less bad or less manufactured, because I'm going to speak for myself. I think everybody thought when they came back from that timeout, when the Timberwolves went on the run, it was going to be, okay, that was cute. Yeah. Let's get him out of here. And then when they came back from timeout and Bronny was still in, I thought, okay, JJ's trying to make this look like he's actually going to contribute, because this man, just ran to the corner. He just ran to the corner literally every possession. It was weird, Chris. I mean, we're going to get more into it in about 3 minutes here, but he did look overwhelmed, I would say. I think on the bench when he was cheering on Pops, he was feeling good, but on the court, he definitely had a little deer in headlights look a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, for sure. He's a rookie. Any rookie's going to have that, but especially when you have all the pressure that Bronny had on him, which I'm sure he's used to at this point. But I mean, it's completely different. And, you know, I heard the mic'd up of LeBron and Bronny on the bench right before they check in together. And Bron, the first thing he tells him, he says, "You ready?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You see the intensity out there? Be ready. Like, match it. And I think that's kind of the thing that every rookie goes through, but especially Bronny, when, you know, I'm sure he's gone through the Lakers practices. I know they're trying to up him in practice and say, oh yeah, he's had some moments where he goes back and forth with LeBron and all this stuff. But I think even Bronny knows, like, this is a crazy different level that I'm at right now, one that I'm not even sure I should be stepping into, frankly. And I think, you know, it's natural, but, you know, you immediately see some of the warts of his game. I mean, the very, very first defensive possession, Julius Randle, they switch it to get Julius Randle on him in the post, and he immediately goes at him. Second possession on defense, he kind of has a weird, I think it was a miscommunication with LeBron James, or with his dad, where, you know, he ends up picking up Julius Randle on the perimeter and waves LeBron to Joe Ingles. I'd imagine JJ Redick probably wants that flipped, where Bronny is guarding 37-year-old or however old he is, Joe Ingles, and Bron is guarding Julius Randle. So I think that there's just a lot of moments where, yeah, I mean, he is a rookie, but, you know, when you see the Timberwolves just go out of their way to really attack him when he's on the floor, I mean, you can't have that if you're the Lakers and you already, you know, some would say that you're fighting an uphill battle of already trying to be competitive in the West. I don't really think the reason why JJ did this yesterday was to get it out of the way. And so now they can actually play their rotation and not have to worry about the distraction of, oh, hey, LeBron, when/if you ever get in with Bronny, that's now done. Maybe people will have the assist conversation or something, but it's just not going to hit the same as you guys checking in for the first time.
Right. I think that was, to be fair to JJ Redick, I think that was the perfect, if you're put in the situation, that was the perfect way to play it. 3 minutes, 1 rebound for LeBron James Jr. Bronny. So he did get in the score box at the very least. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that it was pretty balanced from the Lakers. Rui Hachimura, I know we go back and forth on how high I am on him versus you. He'll have random games like this where it looks like he could be one of those dudes, and then you won't see it for the next 3 to 5 games. But he balled out, 18 points, 5 rebounds. Austin Reeves just kind of steadies the ship, 9 rebounds from the guard position and 12 points. But I think this is more about the Timberwolves just trying to figure out their footing. Jaden McDaniels, a measly 6 points. Julius Randle had 16, 9 rebounds. Yeah, and Mike Conley, to me, Chris, I know he just got an extension not too long ago. I'm just not really sure. I know he's that kind of that wily veteran, but he might be approaching the stage in his career where he might be a really good backup. So I don't know, man. I'm going to overreact because why not? Feels like the Timberwolves could have made a grave mistake, but let's see what they do against the Kings tomorrow night. Like we said, Kevin O'Connor still hating on the Kings. At least he stays on brand. 11 o'clock, he's trying to get De'Aaron Fox up out of here, and De'Aaron Fox traded. Not only is it De'Aaron Fox, but Mike Sandos says some NFL execs say Brock Purdy may need to be traded. That's all coming up throughout the next 4 hours here on Stiles and Watkins. We continue the Bronny conversation. We hear from Bronny post-game when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
The shot clock is ticking, and your home team is driving up the court. But don't miss your chance to score big at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Save on a new Accord, HR-V, Ridgeline, or the all-new Prologue before the buzzer sounds on year-end deals. Don't get benched by high prices. Slam dunk your savings today.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Number 1 claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's Old One Report.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
So caught up in the NBA world, DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. And don't sleep on DeAndre Hopkins. You know, he took passes from Ryan Tannehill. Then it got worse with Mayo Man. So don't sleep on what he has left in the tank. We know how those 30-plus-year-old wide receivers can kind of pass to the wayside. But I still think he's got something left, Chris. And I was telling you this before the show. He goes anywhere else, maybe you're thinking, okay, maybe something. He goes to the Chiefs, and they'll figure out something. By the way, as well as DeAndre Hopkins getting added, I read something, Chris. Hollywood Brown might be ready for the playoffs for the Kansas City Chiefs. And again, any other team you're thinking, okay, is there going to be too much going on? Obviously, you want to get healthy, but could there be too much going on? You just feel like the Chiefs are going to figure it out. So that is the big news coming out of the NFL world for now. And yeah, I think the Raiders are coming up against the Chiefs pretty soon. And the Raiders feel like one of the last teams that beat the Chiefs, not that they even scored a touchdown or offensive touchdown while doing it. So yeah, Chiefs get better, Chris.
It's a good move for them. I mean, I think that Hopkins still has some left in the tank. I mean, he's not going to be the receiver that you saw when he was in Houston, but I think he's still one of the best just straight up ball catchers in the NFL. And that's not really something that many people talk about. It's about the yak. It's about how high you can jump, the amount of times you moss somebody, the amount of one-handed catches you have, which DeAndre Hopkins can definitely do that. But when you're talking about the sideline catches out of bounds and just grabbing the ball out of the air, that's what DeAndre Hopkins is built for. And I think especially in the red zone, it's going to be a nightmare to try and guard him and Travis Kelce and have enough bodies to try and stop him. It's the rich getting richer. And, I do think that DeAndre Hopkins, even though he is old, I think it's older, I should say. I think he's going to make a really big impact for this team. I don't think this is just a big name going to a big place and it's going to be a big letdown. I think that this one is actually going to be really impactful.
He is 32 years old. By the way,
how old's Devontae Adams?
I believe he's
Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
he's 31 years old.
31 years old.
December 24th birthday. So going to be 32 this season.
And the reason it didn't work out with the Chiefs and Cooper Kupp in part is because of that price tag. You look at DeAndre Hopkins versus Cooper Kupp's injury history. How old is Cooper Kupp, Chris? 31 years old. So I think the Chiefs probably said he's a year older and much cheaper and less injury prone. Look, he really hasn't been doing as much because Mayo Man can't get him the ball. So I think the Chiefs probably made the right call. I like Cooper Kupp, but anybody that wears that blue and yellow for Los Angeles, you just can't trust him to stay healthy. So just wanted to note that as the Chiefs do get better. And Niners, you're on the clock to make a move. But who was on the clock last night? That was Bronny and LeBron James. Bronny said this going up to that scorers table with my dad, checking in for the first time. That's crazy. A moment I'll never forget. We have that sound, that post game with Taylor Rooks and Bronny and LeBron, and both of them how they were feeling after the night's events. Here it is.
Bronny, you were locked in all week, and you said you would soak in the moment after the game. What will you remember most about tonight?
Going up to that scores table with my dad, checking in for the first time, that's a crazy moment I will never forget.
As you checked in and you realized this lifelong dream, what did you realize about accomplishing that?
I mean, I'm just extremely grateful for everything. I was given an amazing opportunity to come in this league and get better every day and learn every day. So I'm just extremely grateful.
That was Bronny, LeBron James Jr., and it was a good moment, Chris. But all right, I'm gonna give you the floor during the transition between the morning show with Jason Ross, Carmichael Davis out gallivanting somewhere. Chris Verlade came in here, and you and Chris Verlade shared some of the same sentiments when it comes to Bronny. And I just want to ask the question, and not just to you, to everybody. 916-339-1140. Let's open up the phone lines here in hour one of Stiles and Watkins text line as well, and the Sack Chat. Let me ask you this. Seeing Bronny there on the court with LeBron, seeing Savannah, seeing Zuri, seeing Bryce, seeing the whole crew, did it make you feel any different? Did you at least have some different feelings than you did when it was all on paper and it was the draft and everything like that? When you saw it, did you think, I might not agree with it, but it was pretty cool?
No, I mean, it would have been cooler if it were like legitimate. I just think like in like the bringing out of the Griffies, like it all felt manufactured. Like you said at the start of the show, like it just, none of it felt organic. And I think that's probably my biggest problem with it, is that it just feels like, and I like LeBron a lot. Like LeBron is especially when the Kings weren't making the playoffs. Like I was a LeBron fan. And I still am to an extent. It's tough when he's on the Lakers, but I just think that it's the fact that it feels like they're trying to pull wool over our eyes and act like we're that we don't understand that Bronny actually deserves this and he actually is an NBA player, and all the talk of him being given this opportunity is way overblown because he's earned it. And I just don't think that that's true at all. And I think that seeing it in front of us, it felt like it was all just made for opening night. It felt like they did it all. This entire thing was not about Bronny's development. It wasn't about how good of a player we think he can be in the future. It was to get LeBron that moment. That's fine. LeBron's been in the NBA 20 years. He's carried this league for a long time. And, whatever. If you want to say he deserves that at the end of his career, that's totally fine. But I just think it's the fact that they're still trying to parade it around like it's just another NBA player, or in the sense of like he earned it just as much as anybody else. I just think that's not true. Like I don't even think it's the same as the Thanasis and Giannis situation.
Yeah, man. I mean, there were definitely moments throughout this whole process that bothered me more than others. I'll go on record the same way I've gone on record before. I don't have a problem with a team deciding to take a flyer on Bronny. I do think my problem started once it was on the Lakers. That's when, to me, because you can make a random argument. I can't name every guy that gets drafted or signed in the second round or after the second round.
Sure.
So you could make the argument that somebody convinced themselves, hey, he's got a couple tools and it's in people get drafted all the time. It's in his DNA, right? It runs in his DNA. Once it turned into the Rich Paul, he's going to the Lakers, don't call him. Remember the Warriors a couple weeks ago said they were interested. Yeah. Don't call him. Don't do this. That to me is where things took a turn. And then last night, as I'm watching everything happen, I got my little one, so I'm in my feels as well. And I know different broadcasters will have their sons and daughters on, so I get in my feels. I can get emotional pretty easy. And I'm watching it, Chris, and I'm getting there, man. I'm getting emotional. I'm thinking this is pretty cool. And then the game starts, and I see Bronny like a deer in headlights, and then I see the Griffies, and I'm feeling nostalgic. Then the whistle gets blown, and the game starts going, and I think, oh, that's right. Bronny has no business being out here. So I was caught up in it. And I'm thinking, this is awesome. This is cool. Then the whistle blew, and I see Bronny sitting in the corner. Joe Ingles was moving around more than Bronny James. He was completely lost out there. He only played 3 minutes. All right. He was really just trying to stay out the way. It was really weird how Rich Paul came out and they said that he wasn't doing G League, but now it sounds like he might end up doing G League. So I didn't have a problem with it initially, when it was just, hey, somebody might draft Bronny. Once they took too much control, and this is what LeBron gets in trouble for with lead GM and things like that. Once the whole thing got taken, kind of manipulated, and hey, he's going to go to the Lakers and he's going to do this. And then Rich Paul tried to sell it like he's just another kid, man, with an opportunity. That's where I think I wanted to lose my lunch. Not the initial draft, because people can draft what they want. Once they took it over and started manufacturing the whole thing, that's where even last night, as I do think it was a really good moment and it was historic, having Griffey and Junior and Senior there was so outrageous for two dudes who legit. You couldn't keep Griffey off that field. All right, I think at that point he might have been better than his daddy when he was playing. So to have those guys there and try to make some comparison parallel, yeah, that was kind of ridiculous to me. I know we got to get to the other side. When we return, we'll tie a bow on Bronny James. Did you think it was cool or corny? And we talk about the two teams that made two really big trades and whether or not they made a mistake. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, if you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Grab the keys to a new Toyota. Let's go! And go apple picking. Go to a football game. Go ghost hunting. Or not. This fall, get a low lease on the sporty 2024 Corolla, adventure-ready RAV4 Hybrid, rugged Tacoma, and even the new all-hybrid 2025 Camry.
Grab the keys, come on, let's go!
Toyota, let's go places. Offer available to TFS buyers with premium rated credit until 11/4/24.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
Did you know that replacing garage doors is the biggest return on investment homeowners can get on improvements? Jason Ross here, and let me tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, a family-owned and operated company with third-generation owners that's been in business for 71 years right here in Sacramento. With new garage doors from Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, you'll not only get the wow factor, but you'll also know that you're working with a well-respected and proven company. Residential and commercial, brand new garage doors, or repairs to existing doors, they do it all. Take advantage of their free at-home estimates on new garage doors, or check out the showroom with no appointment needed. And while you're at it, mention me, Jason Ross, or Sacktown Sports, and receive $100 off a new garage door paired with a new garage door opener. Check out their website at ohdsac.com or call them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
916-339-1140. Having a Bronny conversation from the 925. Yeah, father-son Hall of Fame players, the same as Hall of Fame and a G League player. What a joke. Lakers being the Lakers. Yeah, I mean, the Lakers, I don't even know if it's on the Lakers. I think that they had no choice. You know, Chris and I go back and forth on how much power LeBron has. I mean, we can maybe disagree on the JJ Redick thing, Chris, and whether or not he had much power in that, but maybe it's just assumed that this is what he wanted, and Rich Paul was just doing LeBron's bidding, because you're not going to convince me that everybody wasn't in cahoots. And the Lakers at that time, there was the extension talk with LeBron. So everything, look, extremely well planned out, extremely well thought out. All right. But that doesn't mean that people have to like it. From UPS Chris, I'm all for letting Bronny play. Anything that makes the Lakers worse, I'm in for. Hopefully he plays 20 minutes when the Kings play them. Yeah. I mean, he might be playing the Stockton Kings. Yeah. Good call, UPS Chris. We're about to break down these Timberwolves and Knicks deals and whether or not they made a mistake. But Steven wants to be a part of the Bronny conversation before we tie a bow on it for now, because I'm sure it's not going anywhere. What's up, Steven? What you got for us?
Good morning, boys. Hope you guys are having a good, what's today, Wednesday?
Yes,
sir. Anyway, so this whole Bron thing, my thoughts on the Bron thing and Bronny, there was a huge difference between the sports of baseball and basketball. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to the Griffies for this whole father-son thing of LeBron, of the Jameses playing together. I think it's absolutely 100% disrespectful because A, Griffey Sr. earned his spot, okay? And then B, Junior earned his spot, okay? He earned and worked his butt off to get to the bigs. You know what I mean? I really don't feel like Bronny has earned it in any way, shape, or form. It's just a part of a media story. It sounds good. It's just it doesn't seem right nor fair. I think it's kind of a disrespect. I think it's kind of disrespectful to Bronny itself because we're not necessarily giving him they're kind of throwing him to the wolves here. It's either you sink or you swim because everyone and their mom wants to see it. And we're going to go ahead and try to, we're going to drive that narrative and stuff like that. But I think it's incredibly disrespectful to just even compare the Griffies and the Jameses together when both Griffies have earned their positions during that time. You know what I'm saying? You got Junior calling off his dad on fly balls and stuff like that. You didn't have Senior being like, hey, yeah, go get that one. Go get that. Put it up. Come on, man. She feels so manufactured and just not authentic or genuine. Thank you, boys, for the time. I appreciate you. Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thanks, Steven. You too. Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's comparing the two. I think it's just the unfortunate thing is it is the only parallel. But I don't think anybody is saying it. This reminds me. It doesn't. I don't even think it reminds anybody of the Griffies because it was so different. That is what I wanted to know when the whole we're not doing G League thing came out. Because it kind of went back. If I'm not mistaken, he does have the ability to go to G League. Because I wanted to hear from Bronny. I think that's also been an interesting thing, Chris, when you're trying to break away from your pops and you're trying to do your own thing the way it kind of feels like Bronny wants to. Maybe it just is confusing because it's, hey, Rich Paul is saying we're not doing G League. Well, does Bronny want to do G League or does Bronny have a say in this? That was what was bizarre to me throughout this process. If Bronny said, no, if I need to go to G League, if Bronny comes off like the kid, he doesn't come off like a Nepo baby. He doesn't come off like a silver spoon. He comes off like a guy who would say, hey, I'm grateful for the opportunity. If I got to go to G League, I'll go to G League. So that was the disconnect because Rich Paul was going on First Take and platform saying we're not doing G League. So that was what I think kind of ticked people off. And 2916 is coming in, Chris. Symptoms of a bigger problem with the NBA. Everything is about marketing and publicity stunts. Another 916 is saying, well, his heart stopped, Steven. Yeah, I mean, look, the fact that Bronny is playing, I think we can put a disclaimer that it is we are all thankful that Bronny is back out on the court. But 916, I'm not really sure what that has to do with what Steven was talking about. I mean, that doesn't mean he should be in the NBA. So I'm not really sure, 916, what you're trying to get across there. So obviously it's a conversation.
Maybe him saying he didn't work hard to do it. Because that was the one thing that Steven said that I maybe disagree with, or that I would disagree with, is that, I mean, Bronny worked hard still. It's just, he's just not good enough.
Sure. Sure. Well, I guess, yeah.
And that's maybe what I'm saying. The texter is saying is that, if Steven's saying he didn't work hard, it's like, well, I mean, it's just like he did work hard. His heart, he had a cardiac arrest and ended up, working back to a level of at least being conditioned and fit enough to play NBA basketball. But that's really the only, that's really nitpicky though.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will come back around to this. I mean, or we won't. I mean, who knows when Bronny is going to
check back in. Yeah. What do you think of this? I was trying to find the exact, because I was trying to figure out if it was who said Bronny, because I definitely remember somebody out there saying Bronny's not playing G League. I couldn't remember if it was LeBron. I couldn't remember if it was I want to call him Cliff Paul so bad. Rich Paul, or if it was Bronny. And I actually stumbled upon this Kevin Martin quote. I think this is interesting. I think it's a mistake for them to send him, being Bronny, to the G League. Heaven forbid he go down there and not play well at all. Day one, you're making more money than everybody in the G League. They're going at you. Them dudes are 28, 29, 30. They got their grown man strength, and they're going to go out there and try and dog walk that young boy, is the exact quote from Kenyon Martin. I think that's super interesting. I don't necessarily even know if it almost might be better to just put him in a box. Let him just sit at the end of the bench. That's the problem. I mean, that's the Laker conundrum here. This is why he should have stayed in college.
Right.
Because it's you're not good at, if you throw him in the G League, I mean, that's a great place for development, but the players down there might not attack him unfairly.
Well, you can come out, but again, you can come out of the of college. That's fine. But don't say don't draft Bronny. We're going to go to the Lakers, because that makes, to that point of Kenyon Martin, that makes everything worse. It's just funny to me, Chris, because we're going to get into this Kevin Huerter conversation around 12 o'clock, because it's, we can't send him to the G League because just to save the starting conversation, we can't sit him because he doesn't do well when he sits. So we're just waiting for him to do well as a starter. Oh, well, we can't send Bronny to the G League because he might get cooked in the G League. Yeah. So he gets to stay in the NBA.
Yes, he does. He just gets to stay in the NBA and sit on the end of the bench. And that, I will say, that's the one part of the Bronny LeBron thing I did not think about, was the bench interaction. And that to me is actually the weirdest part. It's just because LeBron was sitting next to him on the bench, with Bronny on the bench. And I feel like normally he would sit next to AD. It's just strange.
And where Bronny was even sitting, I feel like most guys that don't play that much don't sit.
No, usually they're end of bench.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
literally and a bench. And the way he was honestly, Chris, I was getting flashbacks to when me and my dad would go to In Shape, right? And it was a really good run, and I was 13 years old, and he would say, "Are you ready?"
Yeah,
because
there's some grown men out there. Yeah, there's gonna be some elbows flying.
That's literally what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's
and
very similar.
Bronny's doing his best LeBron voice impression. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready, Dad.
Yeah, it didn't
Pops.
look like it, brother. It did not look.
Let's go out there.
Literally, Chris, I'm thinking about we would go to In Shape Sunday morning, man. Saturday, Sunday morning,
Oh,
ready to
slime.
cook. And sometimes you would get out there, there'd be some 50-year-olds my dad's age that I could cook. Other days you'd come out there and just the junior college team decided
it
to
was
just
like
get
Laney
some work.
High out there.
The DVC decided to get some work in, and it is just a bad day for your boy. All right, did the Timberwolves and or the Knicks make a mistake with these big trades? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The quest for ring number 6 happens here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
George went up and caught the ball. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Listen on Sacktown Sports for all the 49ers action.
Jennings went up and took it away. What a catch by JJ! He scored 3 touchdowns today.
Quest for 6 lives here on your local sports leader, Sacktown Sports 1140.
Do you know how much money you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. These may feel like scary times. Several economists are saying that a recession is imminent. So what do you do? Ancient wisdom says plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have an actionable plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan is executed to take advantage of market gains, but protect you from market losses. We would like to give you a free, no-obligation consultation to help you do all 3. We will help you discover your magic number and give you the roadmap to get there. Call now to schedule your free consultation. 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108. 800-508-6108. Don't wait. Call 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Every 4 years, the world watches. Every corner kick, every save, every pass. The world watches its most beautiful game played at its highest level. And for a moment, the world stops turning for soccer. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026, supporting possibilities turned into achievements on the biggest stage. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. member FDIC.
Good morning, Doctor. Doctor? Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're not looking for a brand new car, at Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. We've kept only the best of our trades, and our buyer has found some of the finest pre-owned Hondas available in Northern California. You can see for yourself at elkgrovehonda.com. Whether you purchase a brand new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, your car buying experience will be the same. We have the right Honda at the right price. You'll find us in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Sacktown Sports. Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
$12:30, Sam Morrell returns to the Crest for a night of nonstop laughs. And, of course, Sacktown Sports wants you in the building. All you have to do is hit up the Folsom Lake Honda hotline at 12:30, and Nate will give that lucky number so you can score that pair of tickets. Patrick Kilkenny on the Sack Chat. What up, Stiles and Watkins from Napa for work, listening to y'all all day, every day. Looking forward to opening night tomorrow. We'll be there with a buddy of mine, Go Kings. Patrick and I are friends on Facebook. I see him
nice
rocking out with his daughters. So shout out to Patrick. Thanks
Come
for
say hi,
listening, man.
Yeah.
Come say hi, man. We're in the media section. All right. Speaking of the media, they really blew up this trade, Chris, and it went from both teams winning the trade to both teams possibly losing the trade. And this is what it was always going to look like. I mean, not me, I'm not a betting man, but I think the easiest bet in the world, and I know they say Vegas was built on parlays, but I think the easiest bet in the world was a parlay with the Lakers and the Celtics last night. I mean,
sure.
Those are two huge pieces. There was no way. And if you wanted to do prop talk, I don't know that any of the I think the only Mikal Bridges wasn't part of that trade, but I don't think Karl Anthony Towns hit his points. And I don't think that Dante DiVincenzo hit his, and I don't think Julius Randle hit his, because it just there's just a lot to do. There's just a lot to process in a couple weeks here. So I was really surprised that they made the move, and I'm gonna overreact, Chris. You can tell me I'm overreacting. I have more faith that the Knicks will figure it out. You know, I'm high on Karl Anthony Towns, even though everybody makes fun of him in his 14 different voices. But I have more faith that the Knicks will figure it out than I do the Timberwolves. I did not like what I saw last night.
Yeah, I didn't love what I saw from the Wolves last night. I've been a little bit concerned about them post-trade. I think that they just kind of fell back more so into the middle of the pack. I don't think they're a bad team at all. I think Dante is actually a really good piece for them. I was surprised he played as much as he did yesterday. He got 32 minutes and was really in their closing lineups too. He's pretty much playing the same exact role that he played for the Knicks last year, which I don't know why, but I just didn't really expect that it was going to look the exact same. But I mean, it was way too much Ant, and I guess on some nights you're just banking that Ant's going to be better than 10 of 25 from the field, but I think that's also kind of built into it because they don't really have any other creators. Like, I'm looking at that starting lineup.
Me too.
It's a 38-year-old and 39-year-old Mike Conley. It's Rudy Gobert, who has absolutely no offensive skill set, I would say. Jaden McDaniels, who is just a stand in the corner kind of guy, can't really create his own offense, and Julius Randle, who's a post player and really an isolation player in general. It's Anthony Edwards creating the offense for everybody, and I think that's what I was so surprised to see from them is just, Dante DiVincenzo is really just a gunner, honestly, and some days it goes in, and he had an incredible season last year, but you're going to have nights like this where we've seen it in Sacramento. Dante lets that thing fly, and some of them are pretty crazy. He kind of sometimes plays like a 2K player that is just a random that's just trying to get their numbers, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker played good minutes for him yesterday, but I don't think he's really naturally a playmaker. I think the Wolves might be in trouble unless they make another move, but it's a smaller move. I mean, there's so many point guards out there that you can find that are just serviceable. I think that's really all they need is a decent backup point guard. On the Knicks side of things, I will say their bench is absolutely terrible. Yeah. And that's the thing that's concerning.
Real quick, Chris, for Timberwolves, and I know you were pretty high on this guy, and we talked about it during crosstalk. You say backup point guard. I know this guy is more score first, but we are going to see Rob Dillingham pretty soon here. I think we have to.
I don't know if it's going to be pretty soon. I mean, I feel like, especially again, watching the way Dante played yesterday, I think him and Dante are super redundant. I just kind of feel like Rob Dillingham for them is a shot creator. So it does kind of do what I was saying, but I don't know if he's necessarily a playmaker for others. And clearly I think if they felt like he could have given them impact, I assume he would have played, but he's so small. I mean, I wonder, and I wondered this in the draft process, like he does kind of, especially frame wise, have a little bit of Trae Young defensively concerns where I just think everybody can run through him, and he's like Lou Will. I mean, honestly, like if he's not going to be making shots, I kind of don't know what his value is. And so I feel like early in his NBA career, he's probably not going to get the run that we expect, but
I just think they're looking for offense though.
I would think so too at some point here, but we talk about it with the Kings, like the Kings bread is buttered on the offensive end. I think the T-Wolves learned last year being the best defensive team in the NBA is by far their best path, especially when you have Rudy Gobert. That's their path for success. And so they clearly think that defense is taking the priority over offense. Maybe it shifts when they start 0-2 and maybe things shift after that. But I just think that they're right now trying to hold on to that defensive identity, and we'll see. I mean, they made the trade 2-3 weeks ago. Like, I think that they're still themselves trying to figure out exactly how they want to put these puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, and let's not forget Julius Randle did not play towards the end of the season, or really dang near the second half of last season with that injury. So he's still getting back into some version of playing shape. They really just want him to, the combination of him and Dante DiVincenzo, to be a discount Karl Anthony Towns, which I think they could probably get to. But hey, if you pay for a discount, you don't get me started on getting the car fixed. If you pay for a discounted product, you're going to get discounted production. That's just the reality of the situation. I think they're trying to couple that with a leap from Anthony Edwards and see if they can rock and roll from that. For whatever it's worth, Chris, Mike Conley only making $9.9 million this season, and then he signed a 2-year deal, and then next season he makes 10.7. Then he's a free agent at the age of 39. At $9.9 million, that's enough to get moved to the bench at some point, or maybe make it more organic, where he's just not he's starting but not playing as much as he normally was in that starting position. But to your point, okay, well then who is taking those minutes from him? Yeah. Because right now I don't see anybody. Getting to the Knicks, Chris, Mikal Bridges and that broken jump shot, he did actually, like I said, I didn't mention him because he did hit his prop talk numbers, even though they were set pretty low. OG Anunoby, a measly 4 points. They got blasted by the Celtics. Josh Hart, 12 points. I read something. He doesn't know if he's going to be coming off the bench, working with the bench unit. Josh Hart is a very confusing player. I think he just got hot during the postseason last season, but we'll see what he becomes. Karl Anthony Towns, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, nothing to write home about. Mikal Bridges somehow managed to get 0 rebounds, but he did have 16 points and 2 assists. Jalen Brunson, I mean, the game was never really in the balance. 22 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. Just a bad game for them. And Miles McBride with 22 points, 2 rebounds. They add campaign as well, and that left-handed jump shot, 11 points there. I have more faith that the Knicks will figure it out, but it's funny, Chris, even adding a Karl Anthony Towns who can get hot, because he's such a perimeter guy, they're trying him at the center position. And this is actually, I know it was just the first game of the season, the Celtics, that's a good opportunity for him at the center position, because you're dealing with an 87-year-old Al Horford. So you would have thought that this would have kind of been a good setup for the Knicks. Again, first game, they debut that new lineup, but it still feels to me, Chris, that it's just going to be a ton of Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I think the big problem with them, and the concerning thing if you're a Knicks fan, is, I mean, yeah, regular season might be one thing, but at the end of the day, the Celtics are the team that you have to get through if you want to win a championship. And they essentially made the Mikal Bridges trade to have OG and Mikal stop. I mean, in the similar way that the Timberwolves literally built their team to slow down the Nuggets, the Knicks ideally built this team to stop the Celtics, and specifically Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And you had Jason Tatum go absolutely nuclear yesterday. Those two combined for 60 points between the two of them. Jason Tatum, 14 of 18, 8 of 11 from 3 yesterday, 8 of 11 from 3 with 10 assists, 1 turnover. 1 turnover for Jaylen Brown, 1 turnover for Jason Tatum. That is not what the Knicks ordered when they brought in those 2 elite defensive wings. And I think that's the biggest problem for them. And I also saw, and I watched the highlights because we were doing the round table as this game was going on for a majority of it. And I also saw some people talking about it on Twitter. Mikal Bridges definitely changed his shot in the second half. And I think that is really indicative of just how down bad that situation was. I checked the stat line, I think during the first or second break yesterday, and he was 0 of 4 from 3. I think he was 0 of 5 from the field, and I'm pretty sure that was around halftime. And he played much better in the second half. So I do wonder if maybe it was a weird preseason story that he's just going to revert back to how he shot last year. But it's a mess. I mean, if you're a Knicks fan right now, the fact that, Cat doesn't have the game that you would want him to have. I know he only plays 24 minutes. Mikal in his entire summer being as weird as it was. And then the fact that you have legitimately no bench. I mean, you have Miles McBride and you have Campaign as your 2-star bench players. I think that there might be concern at the top level for the Knicks. I think they'll be able to beat up on a lot of the bad teams, especially in the Eastern Conference. There's just so many of them. But, when they're playing the Celtics of the world, if they're playing the Bucks even, and, if the Sixers can ever get healthy this year, I do kind of wonder if the Knicks might just be a little bit too top heavy, and that they might also take some time to kind of gel together as a unit, because those 5 players are going to play together so much. They have to know exactly what the other is thinking.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and it does get thin really quick. Yesterday during the Nights of the Round Table, we were having some fun, or at least I was having some fun with the question of depth and how many guys would be in the Kings rotation, whether it be anywhere between 8 to 10, 11. Chris, I'm literally 7. I got to 8. I'm looking here at the Knicks, and yeah, straight up, I mean, you're looking at the starting 5, and legitimately it's just 8 of players that you've even heard of. Okay. And one of them again is Cam Payne. So that's not what you need, especially on a night where the Eastern Conference, or a year where the Eastern Conference is getting better. You got to deal with the Magic, got to deal with the Cavs, got to deal with the Heat as usual. So this is not a season to be thin there. And that's what got them in the playoffs last season. They were too thin and had injuries. So we'll see what happens there. All right. It's time. Chris Watkins leads us through the curious case of Kevin O'Connor's hate on Sacramento. He thinks De'Aaron Fox could become a trade target. We lay out why he thinks that, how that could come to be, and then we hear from you. We open up the phone lines to react to all of it. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all 4 arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Model year-end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year-end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to folsomlakehonda.com. Your one-stop Honda shop.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Tired of ads interrupting your favorite news podcasts? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Stay up to date on everything newsworthy with podcasts like The Daily, Up First, and 5 Things Uninterrupted at Amazon.com/ad-free. Just head to Amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino in Elk Grove. Enjoy over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and our thrilling high-limit room with Sky River rewards that add up and up, and 18 elevated restaurants and bars. There's something for everyone. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
He'll eat the table.
One hour down, 3 to go. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports, featuring DJ Bedhead, a.k.a. Nate Littlefield.
Don't think of Sacramento.
Thank you, DJ Bedhead. And now it is time, and we try to do a good job of monitoring clickbait, not giving clickbait time, but at the same time, if something makes sense or if something is worth looking into, making sure that we give the good people, our listeners, that information. And Kevin O'Connor is somebody who, let's be honest, he's continued to kind of rise up the ranks. He's with Yahoo now, and people seem to care about what he has to say. And, you know, he's a guy who says he studies the game. So when he says something about Sacramento, because of his kind of checkered past with Sacramento, it's hard to take off the purple lenses and hear what he has to say. But we're going to attempt.
Brother De'Aaron Fox.
We're going to attempt to do that here, Chris. I'm going to turn it over to you and just take us through the whole thing.
Okay. I will say it kind of comes in multiple parts here. He wrote an article and then also did a podcast version of the article, essentially. So like took what he wrote in his article and kind of highlighted, I don't know how many it was. It was about an hour-long podcast. So it was probably like, I think he has 36. I don't know if these are predictions, what he calls these bold takes. He calls them predictions, one bold take for each team. So he takes some of those, I would say probably 15 of those, and then does a podcast with somebody that we also might be having a conversation with, somebody that kind of popped on both of our radars because of this podcast he did with Kevin O'Connor, one Legend of Winning, which I think you said it perfectly yesterday during the roundtable. I believe Legend of Winning is somebody who plays NBA 2K with Draper's son.
Yes.
That is my understanding of the extent of Legend of Winning's basketball knowledge, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's first talk about the article side of things, where again, Kevin O'Connor, 36 bold takes for every NBA team. He has obviously one for each team, and then I guess just a couple where he doubled down on a couple teams. His 16th bold prediction or take of the season will be headlined, De'Aaron Fox will become a trade target. Now, already, I think a lot of people's ears perk up, and I will say I will give Kevin O'Connor, that is the benefit of the doubt of, not even benefit of the doubt, but he does go in here to say, I'm not saying the Kings are going to actively shop De'Aaron Fox. It's just that he is saying essentially that the Kings are going to be in a position to where there's going to be suitors for De'Aaron Fox, and they will essentially have to make that decision themselves if they want to trade for him or not. And I think the reason why we can talk about it so much here is because it definitely ties in to the bigger conversation that we've been having all week. It feels like it started last week with De'Aaron Fox, with Shams resurfacing the report that De'Aaron Fox is not going to extend this offseason in Sacramento. This is what Kevin O'Connor writes. If De'Aaron becomes Supermax eligible, are we sure he's actually worth it? They've been average forever with him as the team's point guard, and he's been painfully inconsistent at times. The Kings also just drafted another point guard in Devin Carter and added a veteran in DeMar DeRozan. This is not to say the Kings shouldn't want Fox, but what if he could be flipped for another player, high caliber player at a different position? Or what if he could bring back multiple high value firsts and those assets could be flipped into something to maximize this window? Point guard is the deepest position in the NBA. There aren't many teams that need one, but I'd imagine at least 6 teams would be interested in Fox, including Heat, Lakers, Magic, Nets, Spurs, and Wizards. If the Kings are merely in the play-in conversation by February, then I expect we'll get a notification on our phone saying that teams are making calls about Fox. That doesn't mean the Kings would have to make a move, but it would mean they're beginning to listen. So there you go. That is the groundwork of which we will be discussing. Again, Kevin O'Connor in his 36 bold takes for the season says, headline, De'Aaron Fox will become a trade target. We'll get into Kevin's thoughts in a second here, but Alan, first, I want to get your thoughts on the surface report of Kevin O'Connor saying essentially De'Aaron Fox is essentially going to be a trade target because the Kings aren't going to be successful enough this year.
Yeah, well, that part of it, as far as why he would become a trade target, honestly didn't make me as upset as I thought it would because it does make a bit of sense if they're in that position, if they're fighting.
Yeah.
And we've seen it. We've seen the Kings anywhere from projected to be a 10 seed to a 4 seed. The problem is that kind of just fits with what Kevin O'Connor has continued to say about this team. And he's going to continue to say it, to be fair, Chris, he's going to continue to say it until the Kings prove him wrong. Not that they're playing to prove Kevin O'Connor wrong, but he can continue to say these things when they're losing in the play-in and things like that. So it's all connected to how he ultimately feels about the team. Let's go in this direction. If the Kings are floating around the play-in at that time, it just hasn't really worked out, would they think about it? I mean, I think that they would have to. I don't know what that says to DeMar DeRozan. I think that's a terrible act of faith to DeMar DeRozan, who is one of the, I know it wasn't technically free agency, but one of the biggest pieces that you've got in Sacramento in a very long time. So, I mean, he's had conversations with De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, he didn't sign DeMar DeRozan didn't sign a 1-year deal, right? So for them to give up on this thing the first year, I know it's not the first year with this core, but it would be the first year with DeMar DeRozan. I think the Kings and Sacramento can't really afford to make a move like that. It would just not look good for the organization. But if I didn't have any connection to Sacramento and I'm looking at it, and he says you don't have to make the move, could they be in that position to where they at least listen to calls? Sure. I think there are crazier situations out there. So I'll at least say that it's somewhat realistic. I just don't think the Kings will be in that play-in situation.
Let's hear what Kevin O'Connor has to say. Let's let him explain himself a little bit. Here's him kind of laying out his defense for his take.
The team that people seem split on is the Sacramento Kings. They add DeMar DeRozan, who I love DeRozan. I think DeRozan is still one of the better bucket getters in the entire NBA. But De'Aaron Fox, last week, he was talking about not signing his extension. And he said, if we were contending for a championship, he wants to wait to see if they contend like Tatum did. He wants to see where we're at, he said. Look, it's not in his best interest to sign right now. It would make sense to wait. But I think there could be something there. And that if the Kings are in the play-in conversation again, by midseason, De'Aaron Fox is going to become a trade target. That's my prediction for the Kings this year. That we're talking about, are the Spurs going to go after De'Aaron Fox? Are the Magic going to go out and try to get De'Aaron Fox? Are the Heat going to try to go out and get De'Aaron Fox? I think that'll be a conversation come February. It doesn't mean a trade will happen, but I think that'll be a thing in February, and it could carry into the offseason.
Well, there you go. There's Kevin trying to explain himself, and I think it is a good explanation. Again, he backs up by saying, not saying the Kings have to make the move, but will those teams be interested or see potentially a wounded gazelle in the pack and say, hey, maybe if we throw a good enough trade package at them, they weren't thinking about trading De'Aaron, but maybe we can at least make them start to think about it.
Right.
And maybe, who knows, maybe we can adjust their plan. If you just sweep them away with a deal, I'm not super familiar with how many picks San Antonio has stashed. I'm not super familiar with how much Orlando has stashed, but I would think that if the Kings are going to move on from a player like De'Aaron Fox, and I think we mentioned the Mikal Bridges haul, it would have to be something absolutely insane, like 5 first-round picks or 4 first-round picks and a pick swap. I think for the Kings to even consider moving on from De'Aaron, especially like you said before this, year one of the DeRozan experience, it would be just a very, very quick U-turn from where it feels like they were going. And so, yeah, I mean, I hear Kevin. I get that he's just, like you said, he's looking at it not from a Sacramento perspective, but just from an outsider looking in. Is there going to be teams that would be interested if De'Aaron Fox, especially as Karl Anthony Towns gets traded, the list of, hey, who are the good players out there that might be available? I could see how De'Aaron Fox might be a name that you would circle to be on that list, but I think it's fair. I just don't think it's likely to happen because a big part of it is that the Kings would have to fall on some struggles this season, I think, for that to even be considered.
Yeah, and look, part of the reason the Timberwolves did move off of Karl Anthony Towns is because everybody's afraid of those aprons, the first apron, second apron, and you're trying to keep your costs down. Young talent allows you to keep that cost down, and drafted talent, even though you have that drafted talent with De'Aaron Fox, but drafted talent allows more flexibility. The 916 is saying O'Connor doesn't know much. Obviously, if that had a hint of truth, I believe Monk would have went elsewhere or to resign. But yeah, 916, he's saying this hasn't happened yet. This is more about if things don't go well this season. So everybody feels like things are going to go well this season. That's why Malik Monk came back. So I don't think Malik Monk is necessarily connected to that. What I will say, though, is that I have been continuing, and I know not just me, Chris, but just I cannot be stated enough. This is another reason, whether you agree with it or not, why this season is so paramount for this group from the Sacramento Kings. It's just a huge season, man. It's a what are we, you know what it is, Chris? It is a bit of a what are we doing season, like when you're in a relationship and maybe one of you either wants to take the next step, move in together, get married, have kids, whatever it is. We've been dating for a long time. I know I like you. I know you like me. I might even love you, and I think you love me. But what are we actually doing? Where is this thing going? That's where I think the Kings are at.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I think that they obviously, I mean, the season's huge. I mean, after the past 2 seasons, this season is definitely one that's going to define this team, I think, for the years to come. Like, if they don't meet success this year, I think that they're never, ever going to get the benefit of the doubt. And I think if they do have success this year, maybe the narrative does start to flip on, oh man, yeah, like, DeMar's going there, but I don't really think it's going to make any noise. Like, I think that's really when the Kings can start to get into the conversation of things for sure. But yeah, undoubtedly this season is absolutely massive. And here's Kevin O'Connor explaining, something that he really sounds like one of the texters on the text line or on the Sac chat here, because this is actually something that we've had a couple different people reach out and ask us about. Here's Kevin O'Connor on the De'Aaron Fox conversation, maybe being more of a two-way street than we're giving it credit for.
But like, is it possible that the Kings are thinking to themselves as well on their end, is he really a 50, 60 million dollar point guard, or are we better off flipping him for either like some combination of players and picks and trying to shuffle this around DeRozan and Sabonis and Keon Ellis in the backcourt, who's a great defensive player. They drafted Devin Carter, who's going to be a really two-way guard once he gets back on the floor. Is it possible that the Kings could look at Fox as their best asset in order to maximize this roster? Because I think it could go both ways. Like that's kind of my perception here. It's not that Fox alone would be saying, I'm out, like I don't want to be here anymore. But also it could be that the Kings are like, wait a second, maybe we should look around and figure out a way to shuffle the deck here.
So there you go. Again, it's not a new take. We've had a couple different texters and people wonder the same thing. Is De'Aaron Fox even going to be worth the $55-60 million? Alan, you and I think have both said like it's just kind of what the market value is. And there's no way that the Kings are going to offer him $40 million and say, look, we don't think you're a $55 million per year player, especially if De'Aaron goes out there and earns the all-NBA or all-defensive team. He'll get that Supermax opportunity and he will have earned it. So, I think it's definitely and I'm not even saying it's not a conversation that the Kings should have. It's not a conversation that they won't have. I just think that it is way too early to start thinking about things like this, but also I just don't think that the Kings would make a move for De'Aaron Fox this season unless it is just a blow your socks off once in a lifetime. There's no way any team would deny a trade like this kind of move. And, I might be proven wrong because this is the same front office that traded Tyrese Halliburton with no warning, but I just feel like with like you said, the importance of this season, I don't necessarily know if you want to throw it away just to try and hope for 3-4 years down the line when DeMar DeRozan might not even be here in Sacramento anymore.
That's cooked.
You have to pretty much sell it. I don't see how you sell De'Aaron Fox and not just have a fire sale after.
Right.
Like, it almost sounds like Kevin O'Connor there is insinuating that Devin Carter is going to come in this season, if he does come in at all, and look like a starting level point guard that would just straight up replace De'Aaron Fox. And again, I just feel like that's way, way too early to even forget the conversation. It's too early to be having thoughts like that.
Yeah. And as far as whether or not De'Aaron is worth it, Chris, can you confirm something for me?
Okay.
It's just all NBA, right? So Domantas Sabonis was all NBA third team.
I believe
so if
it's
De'Aaron
all NBA
Fox,
or if he gets defensive. I believe it can also be all defensive.
No, I believe you're correct. I just was making sure it does not have to be first or second. It can be 13.
Oh, it
just
can be
like
any of them. Yes,
okay, so
yes.
but let's just use that example, right? Domantas Sabonis just made all NBA third team, and this team was a 9 seed.
Yeah.
Crazy season. He set records.
Yeah.
But this team was a 9 seed. So put yourself in the position of the Kings.
He's a center, I will say. I don't know if they do positions anymore for all NBA.
Tyrese and Steph and Devin Booker, those were the guards who won NBA all NBA third team. So let's say De'Aaron gets all NBA third team and he's eligible for that.
Yeah.
But to Kevin's point, they're an 8 seed. You know what I mean? And maybe they lose in the first round. You're the Kings, and now you have to pay him this money because he did have a good season, but it did not reflect and turn into a long run. I mean, at least Tyrese Halliburton, I know it was due to injury, but they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Steph Curry but even Steph, right? Crazy season. They lose in the play-in. He still made all NBA. So now you're the Kings. You got to pay him $345 million, and you lost in the play-in.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? So that to me that's a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
Because the craziest thing is, let's keep it 1,000. It's not a high bar in Sacramento. I mean, I feel like the reason none of this will happen is because you're not asking De'Aaron to go win a finals. And we can't pay you this money unless you win a finals.
Right.
You're legitimately, I would say, Chris, you're dang near just asking De'Aaron to get back into the playoffs. And I don't even think they got to win the first round. I think they get to the playoffs, they lose in the first round, and De'Aaron makes all NBA. I think the Kings, based on their history, would have no other thoughts but to feel good about this and pay him that money. The problem is, if they don't make the playoffs and somehow De'Aaron's usage, which we think his usage will actually maybe go down with DeMar DeRozan, but if he sneaks into all defense or all NBA and they didn't get to the playoffs at all, that's the nightmare scenario. But I think if you're the Kings and the lack of star power you've had and success you've had, you're just going to have to eat it. I still don't think you're going to, even if you get a haul, maybe you hit on 2, maybe you hit on more than 2.
Yeah.
When is that going to be? You cook Sabonis because of the age.
Like selling that to the fan base.
Right.
Too.
No, you can't.
We're just now getting little, like the smallest taste of what it's like to be back. And then if you trade your best player for 5 future first-round picks, to your point, 2030, if we're selling for the rights to Rain Fox, like, what are we talking about?
You can't do it.
Yeah, you can't sell that to a fan base, especially one like this Sacramento fan base that has really been through so many thin years and is just getting to the other side of it. It would be such a slap in the face to everybody who bought season tickets and everything like that is finally hoping that this thing is turning around. It would just be massive. And I think that's the part that, understandably, you're just not going to know from the outside looking in. You could probably think about it. It wouldn't take too much thought, but I think, with how the NBA is especially in the media sense is cycled, I don't think that he's really thinking about something like that, but undeniably, I will give them a little bit of credit on the podcast. They do kind of mention that since it is Sacramento and pretty much lay out exactly what you just said, Sacramento's not really in a position to turn these kind of guys down. Like, you only get these guys every so often. If you're a team like the Sacramento Kings, you're really just going to let him walk because you're afraid to pay that dollar figure. That's just not going to be a good look on anybody. And I don't understand how you could move forward as a serious organization in the eyes of the players across the league if you're trading a guy like De'Aaron Fox. Frankly, after you trade a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, I think they already got a lot of bad PR for that, right or wrong. I think if you trade De'Aaron Fox, people are just going to have no time for you.
916 says, would have to be a disaster season for this to hold water. Yeah, there's a part of me that thinks that might even have to be worse than the play-in.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about worse than the play-in, that probably means there was an injury. So again, okay, well, let's do this again and hope that we don't get injured. So I'm with you, 916. I don't see how it gets there. 925 says, when the Warriors traded Monte Ellis, when Steph was unproven, it changed their trajectory. So everything has to be considered. 925, I don't know if we're saying
that is one example.
Devin Carter is the Steph Curry here.
The example, but that is one example.
But I hear you on that, but I don't think that we can have that conversation yet. We know what Steph was coming out of college, and I don't want to tick off any Providence shout out Friar people out there. But yeah, Devin Carter is possible, but that's not even what his Steph was you have guys that get drafted that are possible stars.
Yes.
And you want to see if they will become a star.
100%.
Devin Carter isn't necessarily that guy. He could be his projection is a really good role player, possibly an elite role player. Catter J on the Sac Chat says, if he's eligible for the Supermax, they don't have to pay him the Supermax. They can pay him less than that and more than anyone else. Will they just pay the Supermax? I think that's kind of what what would you call it, Chris? That's just how the business works. If you get to a Supermax level.
Yeah.
Because at that point,
he would just sign now. I mean, if he wasn't going to sign the Supermax, he would just sign now.
Let's say it happens. And it would be a very Sacramento thing to have that happen. But let's say he's eligible for the Supermax and they say, hey, De'Aaron, we were a playing team. We don't want to strap up the rest of the team. This is what we're offering you. He'd be ticked off. And at that point, couldn't he just go elsewhere?
Maybe not for that dollar figure, because there does reach a point.
He can't get the Supermax anywhere else.
Yes, very.
But he could say, "Well, I'm
getting a ton of money." I mean, and then we can have our favorite tax conversation too, where
go to Florida,
go to Florida, go to Texas, and De'Aaron's from Texas, and he's got ties in Florida with Bam Adebayo being out there. So, and those are a lot of the names that Kevin O'Connor mentioned. San Antonio,
Orlando,
really, really close to De'Aaron's hometown of Cyprus, and. Orlando is close to his buddy Bam, but also not as close as Miami is, where Miami actually is probably the team where I would be most afraid of, because they could actually forget picks. Like if Miami Heat offer Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, I'm just trying to think of the other young, like all of their good young assets. I wonder
who they
if
just drafted, Khalil Ware, throw him in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wonder if maybe that could be an enticing package. But again, I think it would have to take a team being all in on getting De'Aaron Fox in their building.
De'Aaron Fox under contract this season. He has turned down the extension. So then next season, we all assume he will take that extension. But if not, he could test out free agency. On the other side, we go around the NBA. The center in Minnesota, not Karl Anthony Towns, gets the bag, and JJ Redick is mad about the basketball.
Yeah.
Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings open their season this Thursday against Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip at 7 p.m. Listen to every Kings game all season long
On your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
When is the best time to buy a new air conditioning system? Right now with Bell Brothers end of summer clear-out sale. You'll get up to $2,700 off a top-of-the-line AC system. Plus, no payments or interest for 1 year for qualified buyers. Call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or go online to thenosurpriseguys.com because we only have a limited number of new top-of-the-line AC systems. And when they're gone, this offer is over. Need more info? Call us. Estimates and second opinions are always free. So call now for up to $2,700 off a new premium AC system. And no payments or interest for 1 year. Plus, if you call now, we'll throw in your choice of a free smart thermostat or indoor air purification system. But you have to call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or online at thenosurpriseguys.com. Remember, end of summer is the best time to buy and save on a new AC system. Thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Don't miss Stoney's Rockin' Rodeo's Halloween bashes this weekend. That's right, Stoney has Halloween costume contests each night, including Sexiest, Scariest, and Best, and a superhero/villain contest this Sunday night. Winners get a dash for cash on the dance floor, free late night food, country dancing, and Halloween fun all weekend long. I'll see you on the dance floor.
Mita Chevy sends you $8,000 off MSRP on every new 2025 half-ton Silverado LT, RST, LTZ, and High Country in stock after rebates. All of them.
Silverado savings on now at MetaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See delivery details. Ends 10/31/24.
Out on the road, there's just one place when you walk on in, you see a friendly face. It's Big O. Big O Tires.
Now until November 3rd, call into savings and get $80 to $120 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Nexen, Nitto, Toyo, or Hankook tires with installation purchase. Installation charges extra. Required on all 4 tires. Not valid with other offers. Eligibility may vary. Excludes Nexen, N-Cris AH5, and N-Cris AH8 tires. Disposal fees extra and shop fees extra were permitted. See store for details.
Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all 4 arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Don't miss the ultimate Halloween party. It's Sinners and Saints at Thunder Valley's The Venue, Saturday, October 26th. Be there for a costume contest with a $2,500 top prize, wicked live DJ, and more. Get tickets now at ThunderValleyResort.com.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Live and local. Live and local. This is Sacktown Sports.
Trading De'Aaron Fox. Then, what is it, Chris? Mike Sando talking about trading Brock Purdy. Well, not Mike Sando, but people are talking about that. That's at 12:15. We will have that story for you. But yeah, anything is possible, right? I don't see a path for the Kings doing it. I just don't think the Kings can do it based on their past and, kind of what they've dealt with. We're about to go around the NBA, but a Warriors fan in Sac wants to be a part of the conversation. That's just what it says on the caller ID from Nate. What's up, Warriors fan in Sac? 916-339-1140. What you got?
Hey, gentlemen, how you guys doing? Yeah, I'm listening to the call, and it's like the NBA hasn't even started its regular season, and people are talking about trading De'Aaron, and I'm a Warriors fan. But, I mean, come on. The Sacramento Kings have a great franchise right now with what they have going on, and to talk about trading De'Aaron, I don't think he's worth $50 million, let alone $40 million, but you got to ride with what you got.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the whole situation, though, and thanks for the call. If you say he's not worth $50 million, not even worth $40 million.
I would like to let everyone know that Jalen Suggs just signed yesterday signed a 5-year, $150 million contract. So that's $30 million a year for Jalen Suggs.
Yeah. Everybody's still getting used to these new prices.
Yes, that's what it is.
And
I mean, that's
100%
what it is.
But that's the whole point, Warriors fan in Sac, of what Kevin O'Connor is saying. What he's saying is, if, like you don't think that De'Aaron Fox is worth 50 or even 40, then you would move him so you don't have to pay him.
Yeah.
So you can't ride with what you got, because at the end of the season, and he's making, what is he making? I think he's making 37 right now.
Something close to
he's
that,
making
yeah.
34 right now. He'll make 37 next season. So he's basically at 40. I'm not trying to pocket watch, but yeah, at that point, you're going to have to pay him. So I guess you're already in this season. I guess, Chris, then I guess I had the years wrong. There's this season going on. If he doesn't sign next off season, then he would be playing in his last year. And then at that point, it's an expiring deal. That's where things get squirrely. So it is not at the end of this season.
Yes, this season and next
then
season.
next season.
Yep.
So at that, but again, what would happen, Chris, real quick, if he's offered the max or he can get the max, they say, hey, we don't want to offer you. At that point, I think De'Aaron says, well, then I'll take my 37 and I'll go to free agency at the end of the season. And it would be probably the most awkward season you could cook up.
Very awkward season.
Which I don't
you
even know
talk
another
about
team.
a must-win season.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, then you're playing a very dangerous game, because we just saw what happened with Brandon Ayuk. Like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, he would be upset about that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
At that point, De'Aaron, that's where we're talking about requesting a trade.
Yeah.
Because De'Aaron would say, I'm not going to play. None of these other dudes.
Yeah.
You got Jalen Suggs out here. I know different price tags, but none of these dudes are out here playing on the last year of their deal. I'm not trying to play on the last year of my deal of guaranteed money. Get me out of here.
I will also say, in the year 2027-28, Domantas Sabonis will be making $49.9 million.
Man.
So again, like, it's not that the Kings haven't even already signed a contract that's going to be, and now granted, De'Aaron's contract's probably going to start at around 49.9 mil and go upwards. I don't even know how much it would raise, and that might even just be the floor of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just a situation where, I get where Kevin O'Connor is coming from. I just think it's a year too early for that conversation. I think if that conversation is going to happen, it's going to be in the offseason. There's a 0% chance in my mind that the Kings would even consider moving on from De'Aaron in the middle of the season. But I do think, and so normally I would say, let's not even talk about this because it's not a possibility. But I do think that when you're thinking about this team long-term, it's why you have to at least have the conversation, because De'Aaron is going to be a big part of the salary cap. And I do think that there's two routes. You either lock yourself down to De'Aaron Fox, or you do what Kevin O'Connor is suggesting, and you push down the timeline a little bit and see if you can collect more assets for him. I think it's what every team has to go through. I just think here in Sacramento, for better or worse, I do think you have to take care of the talent that's been here and done that. And I put it out yesterday, and I've been on it since last summer. De'Aaron Fox is 73 games away from passing Jason Thompson's all-time games played in Sacramento era history. You think that he's going to get that 73 games, and then that offseason they're going to move him? Maybe if Monty is really as heartless as what it seemed like he was in the Tyrese situation, but I just kind of feel like if that represents a changing of the guard. Hey, this is the guy who's going to represent the Kings. We had the question when Jay sent out the Whitey and Drapes top 40 Kings of all time. When you hear Sacramento Kings, who do you think of? A lot of people's answer is Chris Webber, Mitch Richmond. Not a lot of people answered De'Aaron Fox. I think the Kings want that answer to undeniably be De'Aaron Fox. And I think that that's a part of this as well, is that the organization is very, very tied into De'Aaron.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be fair. Like I said, I said this on the round table last night. If De'Aaron Fox does end up leaving, he won't be leaving to be a pure number one anywhere else, but fans wouldn't care. Let's say he goes and he's a Kyrie type, right, of contributor, and the team goes to the finals or they win a finals. I mean, Kings fans would just lose it. It wouldn't matter about the context. It wouldn't matter about the picks. It would just be bad. So I just don't think the Kings, and in part, like you said, because of what happened with Tyrese Halliburton, they hitched their wagon to De'Aaron Fox, and for better or for worse. And at the very least, they're going to see what happens this season before they have a conversation. They're not going to do it based on 4 or 5 months of a season. That's the ridiculous kind of part of the
I just realized I don't think we played the worst take of all time.
Oh my goodness.
Had time to, I think
we did not. We still can.
We just skipped out on it.
Oh my goodness.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's just do it.
We mentioned our boy. I found out yesterday, people call him Low, Legend of Winning, LOW.
I don't get, you know what? And I'm going to sound old here. I know the YouTube. Old. I know the YouTube swag.
You have to call it YouTubes.
The YouTubes, yes. I know that started popping. What was it, Nate? Nate would know. 2016, 2017, people started really making their
bread,
their way.
Yeah. Oh no,
YouTube
way before that.
Sure, even better.
Yeah,
the Mr. Beasts of the world and guys like that. So this dude is just a YouTuber.
Pretty much,
He's like a Kenny Beecham type dude.
You guys said
he's a discount Kenny Beecham.
Yes.
I don't even know who Kenny Beecham is. Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
That's right.
You said this guy plays 2K with Drapes' son?
We're just making it. It was
because his name is Legend of Winning. I only know
made a joke yesterday about his son wanting to be a GM essentially
from 2K. I only know him because he's a Laker guy. So during my time in the Bay, when Lakers Warriors had their thing going on, he would pop up on my timeline.
Okay, good. Okay,
but I still don't know why anybody cares what he has to say. I guess his videos are decent. I checked out one of his YouTube videos. Cool. I kind of
think this is his bit. Like, I think his thing is I'm going to like Skip Bayless almost, where it's like my thing is going to be my takes are so nuclear that you have
but
to.
That's not new. But this isn't nuclear. This is idiotic.
Well, let's hear it. Yeah. Let's hear it because I don't even know what it is. Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. It's very
DeRozan, though, is like an interesting piece where I feel like I'm actually on the opposite end where I feel like they're going to more so regret the DeRozan, and I think they should probably even try to throw him on the bench. Because I just don't see how it makes sense. I think they should really go all in on the Keegan Murray, Trey Lyles movement.
What?
The Keegan Murray, Trey Lyles movement.
What? So you have to put DeRozan on the bench for Keegan to get minutes?
No, for Trey.
For Trey.
Yeah.
Because the Keegan movement. The first part.
Trey's like 29.
Yes. Number one, putting DeMar DeRozan on the bench, just insane. And then
treating him like he's Russell Westbrook is crazy.
Right.
28. He's 28.
Crazy.
And then the Trey Lyles piece, you're going to start Lyles.
Trey Bay here, and
you're going to bring DeMar DeRozan off the bench. And to the point of Warriors fan and Sac, who shall be unnamed, they haven't even played a game yet.
Not a single
That
one.
is
Not
more
a single one.
Talking about benching someone actually is crazier than
He's literally
in February trading De'Aaron Fox.
He's literally talking like a 2K player. Like, oh, okay, because I play 2K with my friends before we set our lineups, and we go, okay, I think bringing DeRozan off the bench so you could have a higher rating coming off your bench, so you can fill in some spot minutes here. That's what that sounds. It sounds like video game mode that he's in right now.
It's crazy,
and I'm sure he lives in that mode. Just kind of looking at the video here.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, again, I'm as big of a Trey Lyles supporter as anybody, but he does like a 30 seconds before that clip is said, he's like, hey, I'm really big on Trey Lyles. Like, I'm actually a Trey Lyles guy, and I think he's got more to give. That's all perfectly fine, but
not that much more.
Yeah, like it just I just don't see where it makes sense. So, like, yeah, the Kings are going to start Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, Trey Lyles, Sabonis, and De'Aaron Fox. Like
that would actually have ticked people off last season.
Yeah, I think that, I think the bigger problem is from someone who's watched Trey and been a Trey supporter. It's the fact that I have also wanted Trey Lyles at points to enter the starting lineup, but he's never grabbed it. And that's been the problem with Trey Lyles is that he's been really, really solid at points throughout his Kings tenure. But I don't think at any point it was, man, Trey is like low-key giving us starter level production right now.
No.
And we just have too much, I don't want to move HB. That's it. That's the point right there. We didn't move HB to the bench to get Trey Lyles in the game.
Yeah.
We're not going to move DeMar DeRozan to the bench to get Trey Lyles in the game. I love me some Trey. I think Trey's going to have a big year, hopefully, but not that big of a year.
Yeah, like we said, we try not to give too much attention to the kind of clickbait type stuff.
Couple sounders in that. We can maybe have some drops off that.
Oh,
Just that
Trey Lyles movement.
second.
That's one. But when something is that ridiculous, we feel like
That's crazy.
you deserve to hear it.
I think that's the worst take of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there.
I think that's really crazy. I think
it's up there.
I think we have peaked as take culture.
Yeah. I mean, he probably felt like, hey, I'm getting on Yahoo Sports with Kevin O'Connor.
What do you think Kevin
I got to
thought of that
cook
minute?
something else. I got to cook
this is like
something
an
else.
hour-long pod, and this is probably like 28 minutes into it. I can imagine Kevin O'Connor. How many times do you think Kevin O'Connor was like, this might be a bad idea? Like this guy is going a little bit too.
Or
wild
he's
right
just
now.
hoping it
I should
goes
not
bad
platform
viral.
this, man.
It just goes bad viral.
It
And
is.
look,
It is.
we helped. We put it on our socials yesterday.
I will gladly give this kind of shine to Idiocracy.
Yeah, you got to do it. All right, around the NBA on the other side. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike with the left hand. The Kings lead by 3.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
Nope.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
For 76 years, the Keys family from Naturewood Home Furnishings has been serving families just like yours and mine. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with Golf to Go. The Naturewood team takes great pride and significant effort to offer Northern California families a vast selection of home furnishings, most of which are made right here in this country. The kitchen table, which we purchased so many years ago, speaks to the enduring quality of the Naturewood product lines. We treasure memories made seated around that table with family and friends for birthday celebrations, school projects, and many late-night meals when the day just got away from us. Naturewood has provided thousands with home furnishings that not only last for generations, but also lead to everlasting memories of cherished times. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings now during their 76th anniversary sale and get started making your own brand of memories. Meet the Keys family at Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. look for the water wheel.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
DC here, and if you've been thinking about a new car, you gotta see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia. You can always count on low payments and zero down deals with approved credit. Folsom Lake Kia, over 25 years, right here in Folsom.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Getting back to that Fox conversation, but you'd get the most for Fox right now, I guess, versus next season if there's a bit of a letdown. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong, 916. I think that he'll probably, let's say he has a similar year to this season where he wasn't an all-star, but he was good. He wasn't all-NBA, none of those things, but you know there's something there. I don't think his value, and they're a 9 seed or a 10 seed, and they don't get into playoffs. I don't think that value changes too much because at that point, then, again, I think you're trading for a guy who's going to be a very elite number 2, but not necessarily a number 1. 916-339-1140. About to go around the NBA, but first, Dwayne wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Dwayne? You're on Stiles Watkins.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? What's happening? You know I'm not a Monty McNair fan, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that's going to call him out, bro.
Right.
This is a mess. There's no rhyme or reason to this right now. Where I logjam at guards. I wanted Edie in the draft. So he went the whole other way. I know I'm just a common fan, but I do know basketball, man. And our deficiencies are in the paint and on defense and just not really having an enforcer. So we didn't handle any of that, bro. So now, you know, we got that logjam at guard. We didn't get tougher. We didn't address needs. So I just think the first half of the season is going to be real rough, bro. There's not enough ball to go around.
Yeah.
With these guys. And none of these guys really play defense. They're not going to help each other on defense. They're not going to board. We had our all-star guard in Halliburton. We lost that trade. There is nothing exciting about Sabonis, bro.
Wow. Dwayne.
Halliburton is nice on the court, bro. He brings energy. He would have Sacramento area popping. You know what I mean? Sabonis is boring.
Yeah. No, thanks for the call,
You know what I
Dwayne.
mean?
As always.
Well, he's boring, but he's really, 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 really good.
Yeah, and I asked you this, Chris, before and maybe we'll save it for the 12 o'clock hour because I don't want to shortchange it at all. I asked you this during the pre-show when we were trying to put ourselves in the mind frame of I'm not calling Dwayne a Sabonis hater, but we were talking about Kevin O'Connor and how he feels about Sabonis and whether or not Şengün is getting some of those same thoughts thrown his way because the Rockets were actually pretty darn good once he went down. Is that the idea of Sabonis isn't that his talent is undeniable. It's a matter of system, which is why he's not getting – Luka is getting the numbers he's getting because of his talent, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, same thing. Sabonis is putting up his numbers because of that offense and what his usage is as far as how much he has the ball. What I would counter that with would be asking the question, how many other guys in the league do you think would be putting up Sabonis's numbers if they were put in the same situation? Because we can go through a lot of other power forwards and centers, and I don't think they're doing what Sabonis is doing. So the usage is probably a part of it. I don't know how much, but
let's not act like the boring thing. That's all subjective, right?
Yes.
But when it comes to the actual production, let's not act like I feel like I'm having a Brock Purdy conversation if you didn't know who we were talking about, but let's not act like we could drop in any center in the league and they would have the same production that Sabonis has.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's I mean, he can be boring, but it doesn't mean he's not good. It doesn't mean he's not productive. I do agree with some of the things that Dwayne was saying for sure. Like, I definitely think that this team does need some interior help and all those things, but I don't necessarily think that makes them a bad team. Every single team, maybe with the exception of the Boston Celtics, and even then, I would say maybe their biggest weakness is they take too many threes and rely too much on it. But every team has some sort of weakness. No team is built perfectly. And the Kings, they have a weakness that is defensively, just in general, but especially in the paint. They really don't have many enforcers, but they are really, really, really good on offense with all the weapons they have. And we talked about it yesterday on the roundtable. I think at some point, and Brendan Nunez says it all the time, it gets to a point where instead of trying to patch holes and maybe try and be a top 10 offense and a top 15 defense, it might just be better for this team. And, there's no experiment. The only way to do it is by going through it. But I kind of think that it just makes more sense to lean into what you're really, really good at and then just try and be passable defensively. But at least if you're the best offense or a top 3 offense in the NBA, at least you have an identity, at least you know who you are, and at least every single night the other team has to have an answer for that. I think that there is a delicate balance that you have to have, and I think it'd be really tough for the Kings to sacrifice some offense but still stay at the top while also elevating their defense. It feels like they would have to just honestly have a full wholesale change of who their personnel is. And that's maybe where you start the De'Aaron Fox, maybe the Domantas Sabonis trade conversations. And who knows? I mean, I know he just got here, but to me, it makes a lot more sense to move on from DeMar DeRozan, who just got here, than to move on from the 2 guys that you already know. Hey, we've seen that this combo can be a 3 seed. We've seen that, and we're in a whatever weak Western Conference, whatever you want to say. We know that Sabonis Fox combo, they're both under 30. We know that that's a combination that we can rely on. To me, it would make more sense to move on from DeMar DeRozan, who's the new piece, and you're not sure what he adds. But again, that's getting too far ahead of yourself.
As I'm scrolling, Chris,
oh boy,
as Dwayne brings up Tyrese Halliburton, and I really do wonder when that conversation will stop, but I don't think it will. So I am just smiling ear to ear right now to tell Chris what's going on here. So this connects a lot of your.
I think I already know
what you love, Chris.
I'm pretty sure I already know.
You probably just saw.
No,
So the old man in the 3.
Yes, young man in the 3 now.
The young man in the 3. It's a rotating cast. The old man in the 3 was JJ Redick.
Yes.
Now that JJ Redick is coaching, they have to go in a different direction. Now it's called the young man in the 3. It's a rotating cast. The first host for the new version of the podcast, Tyrese Halliburton, and he is interviewing Barack Obama. So look, Dwayne said that he would have this area jumping, Doko jumping. I think Doko is jumping, even with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. I mean, look, the Kings don't play in the East. Do I think the Kings would have made a similar run to the Pacers if they did? I do. I actually do, because we know what it took for the Pacers to get there. No Giannis, no Dame. The Knicks at one point, they got injured. The Heat, no Jimmy Butler. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. And again, that's why I've said this is on De'Aaron to go out there and shut the haters down and say, I am that good. I can be in those conversations, but this is the season that he has to do it, Chris. This is the season that he has to do it. All right, quickly, let's go around the NBA. Talked about this one a little bit earlier. Minnesota Timberwolves. This broke as the game was about to start, or it just started. Minnesota Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert has reached a 3-year, $110 million contract extension. Gobert is declining his $46.6 million player option for 2025-2026 and receiving a fresh multi-year extension through 2027-2028, also giving Minnesota significant flexibility next season, opting out final season as a player option again, Chris, Minnesota, they want that flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good deal for them. I guess I'm not the biggest Rudy Gobert guy, but I do think he obviously brought them crazy success last year, and he gives them some form of identity defensively. I don't love him, but somebody's got to have him, and somebody's got to pay him. I think him and Ant are at least a decent combo defensively, but, you're paying Rudy Gobert, and I don't know how many teams necessarily would be super down to just lock Rudy Gobert down for the future.
JJ Redick is mad about the balls. Here is JJ Redick complaining that the NBA doesn't use used basketballs.
In terms of the process of generating threes, look, the paint was open in the second half. We took, I think, 19 threes in the first half, which is right on pace to kind of where we want to be for our season average in terms of the full game. And we got great looks. And there was even some threes there in the second half that I thought were wide open, and we just couldn't knock them down. I'm going to send in a request for the league tomorrow that we can play with worn-in basketballs. I'm not sure why we're playing in real games. I'm being dead serious. I'm not sure why we're playing in real games with brand new basketballs. Anybody who's ever touched an NBA ball brand new, it's a different feel and touch than a worn-in basketball. I didn't realize it till a timeout. There was a long rebound. I grabbed it. I was like, what? Why are we playing with this ball?
So is this a new thing? It has to be.
No, I don't think so. Maybe it is because, JJ sounds surprised
and
by
he
it.
Played
like it
in the NBA.
I'm not sure. I've touched new NBA basketballs before, and they are incredibly slick. So I think I know what he's talking about. And you can just kind of really feel the difference between a ball that's been used and then a brand new one. So I actually could see how this would impact the game, but this is right up JJ Redick's alley right here. This is something that literally nobody's thinking about, and JJ is apparently incredibly worked up over.
Mike Brown talks about Kevin Huerter becoming a starter when he returns. We talk about it when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Your MasterChef dream. Will you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel? Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well.
Get ready for Sky River Casino's $1 million Vegas spin, where every play could lead to $100K. Earn entries playing your favorite slots and table games for a chance to spin the wheel and win up to $100,000 cash. Snag a free daily entry at our promo kiosk. Plus, score 100 bonus entries every Tuesday and Friday. The thrill begins Saturday, starting October 5th through December 21st, for a chance to spin your way to $100K. Visit skyriver.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older.
Model Year End pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the Model Year End event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at folsomlakehonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at folsomlakehonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Did you know that replacing garage doors is the biggest return on investment homeowners can get on improvements? Jason Ross here, and let me tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, a family-owned and operated company with third-generation owners that's been in business for 71 years right here in Sacramento. With new garage doors from Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, you'll not only get the wow factor, but you'll also know that you're working with a well-respected and proven company. Residential and commercial, brand new garage doors, or repairs to existing doors, they do it all. Take advantage of their free at-home estimates on new garage doors or check out the showroom with no appointment needed. And while you're at it, mention me, Jason Ross, or Sacktown Sports and receive $100 off a new garage door paired with a new garage door opener. Check out their website at ohdsac.com or call them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Hey, Marvel movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Playing this week, Venom, The Last Dance, the IMAX experience. Everything will end. The best theater to experience Venom's action-packed finale is the Esquire IMAX, with its 6-story screen and heart-pounding audio.
There comes a time in every man's life where you have to make a sacrifice.
Be the first to see Venom, The Last Dance. Grab your great seats today at IMAX.com/Sacramento.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
We have hit the 12 o'clock hour. 2 hours down, 2 hours to go. And yes, the NBA started yesterday, but it does more so feel like the real slate, full slates today, Chris. You go home, 4 o'clock rolls around, you start seeing that go down. So that's all fine and good. So happy about that. And then obviously tomorrow will be a really good game. I mean, you could say this, Chris. We're about to hear from Mike Brown about Kevin Huerter situation. I don't know that preseason is something that should motivate you, but I do think that very similar to what JaVale McGee had said about these guys just showing a bit more of a pulse in these situations for maybe them to come out after a really bad preseason and say, no, Kings, I mean, Chris, I'm gonna be honest. We're sitting here, we're talking about some ungodly, and I hate to do this because, I don't think a lot of people do it in sports radio often or just in the world of sports a lot because it is what it is. We understand it. But just like Ryan Clark said, when it comes to, Chris Godwin being in the game, you're getting paid a king's ransom to play a kid's game. And yeah, you deserve it. Yeah, you worked your butt off and you're enjoying the fruits of your labor. With that being said, a lot of people that, you can't, especially in basketball specifically, a lot of people that didn't wake up one day and were 6'9" or whatever the case is, they're working normal jobs and, they chose to be fans of your team and they're going to spend their hard-earned money to come see you. You have a little bit of pride, and go out there and say, hey, this is our home opener. This is opening the season. Last season, we opened on the road. We got a W. Anthony Edwards, a guy who gets talked about more than anybody on our team. All right, let's go out there. Let's show out for the city of Sacramento. And let's get the season started on the right foot. That's not even to say they win. All right. But you go out there and there's just no letdowns, nothing like what we've seen during the preseason. We know you can't control whether the ball goes in or not, but you can control your effort. This team and the Timberwolves, they're still trying to find their footing. So yeah, I just think that sometimes there is a good time. And you see Malik Monk out with the community and other guys out doing their thing. But I mean, Chris, it is getting crazy. And, Draper talked about it with the Drive guys a couple months ago. When you look at some of these, I don't even know what I would do with this money. We talk about Rudy Gobert turning down $46 million. I just don't even know what I would do. So, you worked your butt off. You deserve it. We get all that. but go out there and at least put out the best product you can for a fan base who they're spending their hard-earned money to come see you.
Sure. I mean, I don't think that's really a concern on opening night, though. I think that that's more of a concern throughout the middle of the season. Like opening night, everybody's got the right energy. Everybody's positive. You're 0-0. The world's your oyster. Anything is possible. It's more so, game 25, 35, 63. Those are the games where you really, really need to bring the effort because it's easy to bring excitement and energy on opening night. It's really tough when you're playing your fourth game in 6 days and you're on the road for half of it and you're just looking forward to maybe a home cooked meal or sleeping in your own bed. And, hey, you have this 4:00 game in Atlanta. And then after that, you're flying home finally. And that's the kind of game that the Kings really need to have that level of focus for. I think to start the season, everybody's trying to get off on the right foot. To me, it's way more important to do what you're talking about in the middle of the season when the play-in tournament, maybe if you're out of it, like, hey, that not that I think they even really care about it, but those type of games when the season's getting boring and it feels repetitive, that's really where they need the juice that they didn't have last year. To me, these opening games are easy. Last year we had Malik Monk get the dunk of the season in game 1 to end it. I just kind of think that, I'm more so looking a month from now as to where the Kings' energy is at as opposed to game 1. If your energy's not there in game 1, that's a real problem. I can understand why your energy's not there in the preseason. You're just trying to get some conditioning. Maybe you're just trying to get familiar with offenses and with your teammates. But I would think by game 20, 23, 25, all that stuff, that's really where you're going to need DeMar DeRozan. And honestly, Domantas Sabonis has to step up. And I think we all want De'Aaron Fox to step up and lead by example in those games. And they can talk all they want, which they really don't talk much, but everybody's really going to judge them based off of what we see with our own eyes. So they can have the rah-rahs. They can, be mad at post-game stuff and all that. But I think really where we're going to see it, hopefully, is on the floor. We can actually see guys diving for loose balls, guys being upset, holding each other accountable, and really just not feeling like they're walking through the offense. I think that's what I'm hoping for from an energy perspective this year.
Well, speaking of things starting, we have the cookie crumbs and how we ended up here. First, we have Mike Brown and what he told us about Keon on Media Day. Then we have what he talked about yesterday as far as Kevin Huerter getting back into the starting lineup. And last but not least, we have Mike Brown's explanation. Let's start on that great conversation we had with Mike Brown on Media Day about a lot of things, but more specifically here, who is going to be that starting two guard here?
Those two in mind, because those two are probably the most logical quote-unquote starters in that position. Keon by default is gonna start there during training camp.
Okay.
He's gonna be with the first unit, and we'll see what happens from there.
Well, he talks about we'll see what happens from there. And honestly, Chris, when I first heard it, it felt knowing what he said now, it doesn't seem it sounds different, as the kids say, it hits different. But at the time, he did give more, what are they? Easter eggs?
Yes.
He did give more Easter eggs in his response than I initially registered when we were talking to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hindsight 2020, and it's a little bit of confirmation bias. I think at the time we were all just looking for confirmation that it was going to be Keon because everything was leaning in that direction, and so we were just waiting for him to say it, and then he said it, and I think maybe we all collectively made the mistake of just taking it and running with it and not really. I mean, it's kind of, I guess, a familiar theme with this Kings team, especially with Mike Brown and Monty McNair. It's not really about what they say, it's how they say it and then reading between the lines of what they say. And I think this is just the perfect example of that, of him saying, yes, I did technically say Keon Ellis was going to be the starter, and he will be the starter, or was the starter even. Mike Brown goes on to say that he thinks Keon's going to start opening night, but he's really just saying, actually, if you take me at face value, I said Keon's pretty much only starting right now because Kevin literally cannot be a starter. He is not practicing with the team. And then, he says it at the end by default. Then he says, we'll see what happens from there. That's him again, like hindsight being 2020. I guess we should have heard that means that this is not an end of conversation thing. And truly, I think maybe when I heard that, I just thought, okay, yeah, he's just not trying to make headlines with the Keon part of it. And so he gives the caveat of, I'm not saying anything's official, but this is where we're at. Apparently I should have taken it at face value. And apparently it is getting reopened.
Kevin Huerter will be back in the starting lineup. Here is Mike Brown yesterday on what that looks like for the team.
Yeah, I think he's close. They haven't said give me the green light that he'll be able to play on Thursday. Yeah, but I think he's close. He looks good. He doesn't seem like he's missed a beat at all. If he plays, he'll probably start. But right now, we got to get the green light to see if he's going to play.
He did say probably. Another Easter egg, but I don't think it's an Easter egg in the same way. And here is Mike Brown explaining why.
There's a lot. I mean, again, I know for sure, Keegan's going to start, Doma's going to start, DeMar's going to start. I said this earlier, and Fox are going to start. And then from there, we'll evaluate it. But right now, until he's cleared to play in a real game, that's kind of how I'm looking at it as. If he's not cleared, then Keon most likely will start, but that could change too. So when I get the green light that he's cleared, we'll make that decision. But I try not to. And it can happen. I'm not going to put myself in a box and say that if a guy gets injured, a new guy steps in, and we run off 10 in a row. When that guy comes back for game 11, I'm going to probably keep it rolling, or something like that. So. You try to think of it as that way, but it's not 100% or set in stone to always happen that specific way.
I gotta say, I hate that. I just hate, I get that, whatever, it's $1 billion business and all that stuff, but I just wish sometimes sports wouldn't take themselves too seriously. I just think Mike Brown's trying to avoid headlines there, which I get, whatever. I understand that coaches really hate media and hate headlines, but can you just give us an answer, please? It's not that serious. It's not White House secrets. It's just, you're telling us who's going to start. We all know what the options are. We all know what the situations are leading into it. Can you please just tell us? I understand, Mike in his pregame always gets upset because Jason Anderson of the B is always asking him, hey, Mike, about the starters or about health today. And he's always saying, are you working for the other team? I know how this works. You put out my starting lineup and then they get to see it in the other locker room and make adjustments from there, or they start game planning. I just wish that sometimes sports wouldn't take themselves this seriously. It's just crazy. I just wish that we could get a defined answer, because even in Keon, even in him saying Keon's going to be the starter, he's
probably.
He probably will be,
Yeah.
but even that can change. And it's so are you saying now that Malik Monk could be a start? It's just, can we just get a straight answer?
Maybe that's how you do it. Maybe you just continue to say, again, and we have a great relationship with Coach Mike Brown, but if you wanted to get a straight answer, you say, Mike, and now I'm not to sound too, too hot takey, but if you were to write an article that said Malik Monk isn't out of the question to start, and he says, well, I didn't say that. It's if you just had told us that it was Keon Ellis, then I wouldn't have wrote that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do
we'll
that.
We'll get Brendy and Frankie on.
Yeah, get Brendy and Frankie. Yeah. Franken and
Brendy.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it, but that might be one way. And it's not a Mike Brown thing. They all do it.
Yeah, no, they all do it. I just think it's a problem with sports in general. So okay, I get it.
Yeah, well, that didn't really explain the decision. It sounded like at one point he said, if we ran off 10, I'd probably want to keep it rolling. And what that told me is very similar to what Kyle Draper said to me yesterday before he almost got up and left during the roundtable.
Draper's in the practices now.
Right. But I think that Draper was essentially saying, look at their record. It's not as if Keon played well. Keon played better than expectations, but it's not like the Kings. It's very similar to the Justin Fields thing, right? It's not like the Kings were some world beater with Keon in the lineup. Their defense was much better, but they had holes in other areas, right? That was when it was Keon and Davion, and they'd be hot for a half, and then the second half they'd go cold. So I get it. We're gonna get an opportunity, or Kevin Huerter is gonna get an opportunity. Let's just see what he does with it. All right, time to hit the gridiron. Mike Sando writes, an NFL exec tells him the Niners should think about trading Brock Purdy. What is this, Trade Wednesday? What's going on here? Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings open their season this Thursday against Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip at 7 p.m. Listen to every Kings game all season long.
On your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper. Drapes for Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Now is the time to buy or lease a Mercedes-Benz van for sale. They have Sprinter vans. You could turn it into a worker cargo van, a worker passenger van, or just a plain old passenger van. They are fully customizable. And one of the things I love about their Sprinter vans, because trust me, I had a chance to check them out myself. I hopped in the Sprinter van, and you guys know I'm a big guy, right? Well, I was able to stand up head to toe and fit perfectly. So if you're interested in the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van for your business or just your personal needs, now is the time to head down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. They can help you find the configuration that best suits your needs. Plus, you can take advantage of the huge tax breaks before year's end. Take the short drive down I-5 or go online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com, and tell them your boy Drape sent you.
Live and local. This is Sacktown Sports.
$15 minutes. Sam Morrell returns to Crest for a night of nonstop laughs, and of course, Sacktown Sports wants you in the building. All you have to do is hit up the Folsom Lake Honda hotline, 12:30 in 15 minutes. Score that pair of tickets. Check out Sam Morrell at Crest Theater. Beautiful downtown Sacramento next May, courtesy of Live Nation. For more information, visit sacktownsports.com. Switch off the app if you want to have a chance to win it. We know there's a bit of a delay, and get your chance to win and see Sam Morrell in May. See what I did there, Chris?
Morrell, May? No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
no.
Chance today to see him in May.
Oh, no, I didn't catch that one.
Bars.
You may see him.
Ooh,
that works too.
Whatever caller.
That works too. Well, you may see Bryce Young this weekend.
This guy's hitting him out of the park.
That's right. As we're about to get into Mike Sando article from The Athletic, but before we do that, you may see Bryce Young this weekend because he is starting. Andy Dalton and his family is in a car crash. We have the full story for you during Top Stories at the top of the hour, but Bryce Young will be starting against the Broncos. And if you bet on this game, Broncos Panthers, call the number.
Sicko.
Call the number. That's all I got to say. Panthers, Broncos. And are the Broncos going to sneak into a wild card real quick?
They might. Hey, Nate, shout out Nate, who I think you weren't there. We did the traditional 6 in, 6 out for the NFL playoffs. Nate did say that.
I wasn't super stoked about it.
I'm not saying where was I?
Dave Show,
I think you were. Yeah, I think you might have.
This was a while ago.
It was a while ago. It was before the season. Nate was not. I wouldn't say he was high on the Broncos, but he said. I think you literally said that they might sneak into a wild card spot.
Yeah. All right, well, here you go, real quick. We'll get into Mike Sando's article. They host the Panthers.
Man,
that's a W.
They've already won 4 of their last 5.
Right. Then after that, they go to Baltimore. They go to Kansas City. They host the Falcons. I don't really know what the Falcons are. They get a break with the Raiders. They get a break with the Browns, who we'll see if it's a break anymore with Jameis. They host the Colts. They go to Chargers. They go to Bengals.
Yikes.
Then they host the Chiefs.
Okay.
So they're going to be right there on the front. If they play really well, they'll still just be right
it's
there.
Sean Payton a good coach? Who knows? Who really knows?
Find out.
Yeah, we will find out.
You were talking about Bryce Young too. I read this story the other day about someone saw Bryce Young at Trader Joe's. Just if we're here real quick, he was in line and his friend is the cashier. and he sees Bryce Young, 2 people ahead of him or whatever. And he's like, oh my God, that's Bryce Young. Big Panthers fan in Carolina a couple weeks ago. And he's watching the interaction between the guy checking him out, Bryce Young out. And he goes, hey, you look a lot like Bryce Young. And the guy goes, oh yeah, I get that a lot. Obviously it's him. He's like, but I know it's not you because Bryce Young is a lot shorter than you are. And then the guy 2 steps back, gets up to his friend at the register and is like, dude, that was Bryce Young, and you just said that to his face. That's insane.
Wow.
So I just thought you'd appreciate that story.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Oh,
All right.
man,
it's
that's
also
hilarious.
crazy to talk about trading one Brock Purdy, or is it? This is from Mike Sando of The Athletic. The article is titled The 49ers Shrinking Window and How Brock Purdy Fits, in parentheses, or might not. This is his Sando's pick 6, and it is one of the 6 on his pick 6. So I'll go through it, Chris, and then we'll break it all down. San Francisco, this is just pieces of the article. San Francisco has funneled cash into its defense, signing Javon Hargrave, who's out for the season with tricep injury, for $21 million a year. The Niners have also hit on mid and late round picks, but they still have the NFL's oldest offense and 8th oldest defense weighted for playing time. And one of the execs says that is probably San Francisco's biggest issue. A different exec said they are starting to feel 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. They have done a good job drafting with later picks. It is great they got Purdy. He makes up for one of those first-round picks, but not the 2 others. Execs around the league have anticipated the 49ers extending Purdy's contract in the coming offseason, his first time eligible for a new deal, even though Purdy is signed through 2025. Here's the quote. They need to make a decision about whether they should just be moving on from this older core and building around Purdy, or do they trade Purdy, get stuff for him, and go with the cheaper option at quarterback, another exec said. Mike Sando writes, wait, what? Purdy is one of 45 quarterbacks to make at least 10 starts since 2022. He ranks first among them in passer rating, yards per pass attempt, and EPA per pass play. Who would trade a young quarterback as productive as that? The answer so far has been nobody. The exec was merely suggesting that Purdy, while good, does not belong in tier 1 or the top of tier 2, and that other teams in similar situations might have been better off in retrospect, swinging trades and paying top dollars for their quarterbacks. I wonder who he's talking about there, that maybe you shouldn't have, because that to me is a Tua conversation. But we'll continue on.
Yeah, I was like, he says it in his next paragraph.
The Los Angeles Rams with Jared Goff, the Miami Dolphins with Tua, and the Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott, and the Minnesota Vikings entering their final season with Kirk Cousins were among the examples he cited. It's about being a guy, being a dude, and Purdy is not in that dude category, the exec said. The more likely scenario, Purdy and the 49ers reach an agreement with an extension before the 2025 season. When you have a head coach that has the vision, you know what is going to look like in the future, another exec said. Having the quarterback signed adds to that predictability. You are able to navigate. A lot of other things fall into place, and you can continue to build as a cap increases. Guys, any thoughts at all on moving Brock Purdy? Basically, he's saying Brock is another middle-of-the-road guy. Jared Goff, who's playing MVP caliber right now. Brock Purdy was playing MVP caliber last season, and Tua was for a good bit as well. And I believe Dak Prescott was second in MVP voting. So maybe we're putting too much on MVPs. I don't think so. But any thoughts on these teams that have paid their guys versus moving off of a Brock Purdy? And I don't even know what I would love to know what the cheaper option is that the exec is talking about that you think you can win a Super Bowl with. Because that, to me, to be completely honest, sounds like Gardner Minshew territory. It really does. I mean, this is what the position is right now. So I'm just not really sure, and what the market is. So I'm just not really sure you're going to find a capable Super Bowl winning quarterback, even in that Niners system with the Avengers, for what are we talking here? 20 million, 30 million? I just don't think you find it.
Stupid and dumb.
I mean, you're so high on Sam Darnold. No.
That might be a conversation.
I mean, I think that
might be a conversation.
To me, what
did he sign for in Minnesota?
10 mil 1 year.
Well, now we're talking.
Yeah.
But there's only one Sam Darnold who can spin it like that, like a jugs machine.
But he's going to be available after this year. The Vikings probably aren't going to re-up on him with JJ McCarthy. I wouldn't think, especially if Sam feels like I would imagine that Sam's going to try and leverage this situation and try and find a starting gig. And I mean, like you said, I mean, this is really, really, really comparable with the De'Aaron Fox conversation we just had. It's pretty much the same exact thought process of, look, the Niners have two paths. They can either pay the dude or they can do the route of getting as many assets as possible. I think in this sense, and maybe it is just that I had the purple color lens on, it's coming.
Give it to me.
I do kind of think that it is much more worth the conversation of saying, what are we going to get for Brock? Because again, the big conversation, and I know there's levels to it, but is that the offense is pretty plug and play at that quarterback spot. And why pay? I mean, it's really detrimental to go from paying this guy the least amount of dollars of any quarterback in the NFL to then paying him as one of the highest. Like you can't, I don't know a lot about the intricacies of the NFL cap, but I could tell you that you're going to have to lose some talent if you're going to make that big of a swing in pay. And I just wonder, I think if Kyle Shanahan wants to kind of bet on himself, which I think he's the type of guy to do it, I wouldn't think it's impossible to think that maybe they would do it. Now, I think it would definitely be, the problem is this would take the organization really going out on a limb. And I don't think any team really likes to put themselves in harm's way like that, because frankly, that's a move that can get you fired, or it's a move that can have you be the GM and person in charge for the rest of your life. And so I just kind of feel like a lot of people opt for job security, and job security is doing what's worked and what you know. And obviously you put yourself out on a limb there if you're John Lynch and you already messed up the Trey Lance thing and you got lucky with finding Brock Purdy. Are you sure you want to roll that dice one more time? Because it could be the last time you roll it.
More likely to be traded, Brock Purdy or De'Aaron Fox? We get the answers on the other side. Also, who will be a letdown? Yesterday we did who's going to surprise some people in this NBA season, and now we're going to do who will be a letdown this NBA season. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys, live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus, view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
Carmichael Dave here from my good friends at American Energy. Cool weather, if not cold weather, is in our future. You know that. It'll eventually get there, and American Energy wants to make sure your system is operating safely and properly. So now is the time to take advantage of the $49 fall tune-up inspection. That's regularly $119, but includes a full safety and duct inspection. And if your system's over 10 years old, it's free. The tune-up is on American Energy. Give them a call right now. They're offering $50 off your first recommended repair, or if you need a new furnace, that's half off the price of a new unit. American Energy been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You can check them out at the AEWay.com for an instant quote. That's the AEWay.com. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now. Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all four arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
Kings basketball is back in action. The Kings have tipped off their 40th season in Sacramento, and it's sure to be an exciting one. Get your tickets now to see De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, new addition DeMar DeRozan, and all of your Sacramento Kings take the court at Golden One Center. Upcoming matchups include the Trailblazers on October 28th, the Raptors on November 6th, and the Clippers on November 8th. Don't miss out. Head to kings.com/tickets to secure your seat for the action now.
At the law offices of Dale R. Gomes, we understand that when you're facing a crisis, you need more than just a lawyer. You need a team. Our dedicated attorneys work together, combining decades of experience to guide you through personal injury or criminal defense matters with care and expertise. We're committed to supporting you every step of the way, ensuring your voice is heard and your rights are protected. With offices in Sacramento and El Dorado County, reach out to the law offices of Dale R. Gomes today, 916-999-9033, or online at dalegomslaw.com.
Don't you deserve healthcare you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare. With Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow, you can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for California, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Get ready for an incredible night as the iconic Little River Band hits the stage at the Nugget Casino Resort Grand Ballroom. Join us Saturday, November 16th at the Nugget Grand Ballroom for an unforgettable concert experience. You'll hear all your favorites in this must-see event of classic rock. The Little River Band live at the Nugget Casino Resort Grand Ballroom. For tickets and info, visit nuggetcasinoresort.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Dirk Fedorn in the KCRA 3 Weather Center, and mostly sunny to sunny skies through the afternoon today, with temperatures warming into the mid to low 80s and the wind staying light. Expect to have clear conditions through the night. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Sam Morrell returns to the Crest for a night of nonstop laughs. And of course, Sacktown Sports wants you in the building. All you have to do is hit up the Folsom Lake Honda hotline right now. Looking for caller number 6. Caller number 6. Caller number 666 916 339 1140. Score that pair of tickets. Check out Sam Morrell at the Crest Theater in beautiful downtown Sacramento next May, courtesy of Live Nation. For more information, visit sacktownsports.com. Who knows, Chris, by the time you go to this show, De'Aaron Fox still going to be on the Kings?
Okay.
Saying 916 says, can we not talk about this nonsense? Look, it is nonsense, but I'm using it as a vessel to get my point across about how important this season is. That's how I'm using it. But Chris, just real quick,
okay,
more likely to be traded, Fox or Purdy? And by the way, don't blame us, blame the NBA.
Right,
you gotta wait till tomorrow for the game.
Right, exactly. Why aren't the Kings playing tonight?
Why aren't the Kings playing tonight?
Why aren't they playing tonight?
Disrespectful.
Come on, do we have to play the Timberwolves game 1?
Yeah,
if we didn't play the Timberwolves,
that makes no sense.
This is why they're always like 2 games back in games played throughout the whole season.
Too.
It's so annoying.
It is really annoying. Man, I don't know. It's such a tough question because, to the texter's point, I guess both of the scenarios feel so unlikely. I would say probably more likely is probably De'Aaron, only because of how little quarterbacks get traded.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Deshaun Watson got traded, Kirk switched teams via free agency. Obviously Russell Wilson was traded, and
most
also
of them
switched.
just wait and sign. Like
exactly,
Aaron Rodgers, I'm pretty sure he waited and signed. I don't think that was a trade.
Yeah, I can't remember how. I think that was
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff was traded, but that's again a pretty like rare scenario where they are trading for another quarterback too. Yeah, I mean it just feels like quarterbacks especially aren't traded often, and it feels like, as much as I love De'Aaron and think he is fairly irreplaceable for what the Kings like to do, it just feels like, you know, if you're going to restart a quarterback search, that can go so many different ways of going wrong that it's just, literal decades.
Yeah.
It could be a curse. Like you could say, oh, it's the curse of Brock Purdy. You know, you get Trey Lance with the 3rd pick, and then you get so lucky of the last pick in the draft getting Brock Purdy, and then you trade him. That's like the curse of the Bambino type of stuff. So it just feels like a much, much bigger risk, honestly, optic wise, to trade Brock. But I do think probably actual X's and O's wise, I do kind of think it might make more sense to trade Brock.
Yeah. Well, just like
Just like Mike Brown said, by default.
By default.
By default. It would
exactly.
be Fox by default. All right, 916. We're done. We're done with that for now. Who will be a letdown, Chris? I have some teams here. Yesterday in the NBA, we said who will be a surprise team. You had the Cavs. I had the Spurs. Obviously, relatively speaking, who will be a letdown team this season? I have a couple teams here, Chris, but it doesn't have to be any of these teams. Okay. We can think of somebody else. I have the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the 76ers, and the Timberwolves. And if you asked me who was a letdown last season, I would say the Milwaukee Bucks. So think Milwaukee Bucks and then just go from there. You know how I feel about the Nuggets and the Sixers. I just don't think they're going to be healthy enough. But yeah, that's who I have as the contenders to be letdowns. I don't know if you have anybody else, if you agree, disagree. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think for sure the Sixers, obviously with their injuries already, like I think that's definitely super concerning. Joel Embiid is their best player, and I like Tyrese Maxey. I like Paul George, but if that team wants to be who they want to be, they have to have Joel Embiid available, and it sounds like he's already missing at least 15 games. So, that is definitely super concerning. I do wonder, and maybe it is overreaction, but like the Knicks, more so from a, like you said, from a Bucks standpoint of, it's not that they're bad, it's not that they're going to be out of the playoffs, but like I think that realistically a lot of people are expecting 2 to a 3 seed for the Knicks, and maybe with that lack of bench depth, they are. If any of their starters get hurt, they're screwed. Like, they're completely screwed. They already play those guys. I'm sure Tibbs is going to play them. They obviously didn't last night, but like upwards of 35 to 38, maybe even 40 minutes for some of those guys. I just kind of think that the Knicks might be built on a little bit of a house of cards. And I think the Pelicans might, I know people here in Sacramento are probably just thinking like, you're the most insane person I've ever heard, but I do think that the Pelicans might disappoint people this year just because their team is just so strange. I mean, with the Brandon Ingram thing, they signed Trey Murphy long-term. DeJounte Murray seems to be saying that he was held back in Atlanta and is excited in New Orleans to kind of play more of a style he likes to play.
Yeah, I think that was, he just couldn't be a point guard, right? That's how
I think so,
Which was funny because Trae Young was hurt so much, he get to play point guard.
All the time.
Yeah.
He played all the time. And so, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned at how all those puzzle pieces are going to fit together. And besides that, yeah, I mean, I agree with you on the Nuggets in general. We've had that conversation. And yeah, I mean, I think those are really the big candidates. I might throw Dallas in there, but again, I wouldn't say it's much of a Bucks level disappointment. I guess it kind of depends on where you're starting with the Mavs. I think the Mavs are more so middle of the pack. And I think a lot of people think that they're really good contender for the 1 through 3 seed.
The Suns are one that are intriguing because people have them higher than I think you and I have them.
Hold on real quick here, as our friend Frankie Cardicelli is at practice today. Tweeted about 10 minutes ago, Kevin Huerter cleared to play tomorrow versus the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Kevin Huerter.
Wow.
Multiple Huerterers.
Cleared to play tomorrow?
Our friend Matt George, friend of the show, outside of the show. Keon Ellis is wearing white jersey with the second unit guys.
Wow.
Kevin Huerter in black with the starters.
I can't.
Whoa! Yes, Jimmy, yes. I know.
Keon is back on the bench.
What color is Malik wearing is the real question.
He doesn't have a shirt.
He doesn't. Yeah, it's just no shirt. He's just on his own team.
916-339-1140. It is all but official. Number one, Kevin Huerter fully cleared and will be available for tomorrow's season opener. Number two, Kevin Huerter will be a starter. How are you feeling about it? Wow. Talk about a letdown. This is not a letdown. Well, Kevin Huerter playing is not a letdown, sure. But is it a letdown for him to be a starter? Did he do enough from that first Beam Team season? Are you willing to say, all right, Kev, we know you did it before. You can do it again. Let's rock and roll. Or were you in the camp of, we're terrible at defense, and Keon Ellis shot the basketball better than Kevin Huerter last season? I know, Chris, I'm not going to speak for you, but you got two guys that shoot the three ball. Keon Ellis shot the three ball better than Kevin Huerter last season, and Keon Ellis plays better defense than than Kevin Huerter. Keon Ellis is going to come off the bench. Chris, we're getting to the point that the bench might be better than the starters. They got more talent on the bench.
It's a good problem to have.
They got more talent on the bench. And Trey Lyles.
The Trey Lyles movement.
The Trey Lyles movement.
It's a move.
Wow, Chris. What are you feeling right now? I know we're going to dive into it on the other side, but Kevin Huerter, number one, fully cleared. I feel like that just kind of snuck by.
Definitely did. Definitely snuck by. I think a lot of people were expecting, or at least I was expecting, like first week in November. I thought he would miss like 3 to 4 games and then just kind of jump into the swing of it. But, he's pretty much been running with the team throughout training camp. And then I think we heard, I think it was the first or second preseason game. I think it was the second preseason game. We heard that Kevin had been cleared for more contact, and things escalated very, very quickly here. I mean, I'm really surprised that he's going to be available in game 1. And, we literally just played the audio. Like you said, it's all but official pretty much. I do wonder if this essentially locks in Kevin Huerter for the starting spot. And I think it is obviously something we talked about all summer long. I still believe that Keon Ellis just makes more sense with that starting unit. But at the same time, I also just said 20 minutes ago that the Kings like to lean into their offense and just be a dominant offense over worrying about trying to, salvage a little bit of defense. And I think that this is really representing of that. If Kevin really is entering that starting lineup, I will say, look out, man. Look out, because that's going to space the floor for DeMar way more than Keon did. No disrespect. I don't mean that as disrespect, as it really isn't, because Keon's still a 40% three-point shooter, but Kevin Huerter just has more range than Keon does. And even if he doesn't shoot a similar percentage, I just think that here's a word that they like to use in Golden State. The gravity that Kevin brings is a lot different than what anybody else, maybe with the exception of Doug McDermott, brings to this team.
Reaction. Kevin Huerter. Cleared to play. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Kevin Huerter is Sacktown Sports.
Huerter's open, steps into 3. He's got the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Kevin Huerter, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Ooh, my. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Have you heard you can listen to your favorite news podcasts ad-free? Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. Enjoy shows like The Daily, Up First, and Consider This, available ad-free on Amazon Music. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free. That's amazon.com/ad-free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Febreze.
So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. October is ending, but I want to keep the fall fun going. So I shopped Kohl's lowest prices of the season. I saved 30% on top active brands like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. Then I got my kids some boots for under $22, scored 50% off Food Network baking must-haves, and earned Kohl's cash. Yeah, it doesn't get better than Kohl's. Flex Styles offers in October 27. Coupons do not apply to Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
What sets Ashton & Price apart from other injury law firms? I'll tell you. From beginning to end, all important legal decisions are made directly between our clients and their experienced local attorney. A gate agent flying the plane, the receptionist performing surgery, not a chance. There's simply no substitute for the unique power of the direct attorney-client relationship offered by Ashton & Price. And there's never a fee until we win, and between you and me, we win a lot.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Fall's right around the corner, and there's no better way to experience nature and everything that Northern California has to offer
than in a Jeep. And right now, it's Jeep Adventure Days at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And they've got the deals and selection for you. From sales to service, they're going to prove to you why they deserve your business. Their GM, Chuck Dean, he has this talent of not only getting you the best deal in town, but he also is able to build an inventory that other dealers are jealous of. SacsSuperstore.com and located off of Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't miss Stoney's Rockin' Rodeo's Halloween bashes this weekend. That's right, Stoney has Halloween costume contests each night, including Sexiest, Scariest, and Best, and a superhero/villain contest this Sunday night. Winners get a dash for cash on the dance floor, free late night food, country dancing, and Halloween fun all weekend long. I'll see you on the dance floor.
Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411th North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Congrats to our winner, Nate. The Sam Morrell tickets.
Just Mike this time, not saying no last name.
Yeah.
Mike.
Dean yesterday. Mike today. Couple more opportunities for you.
They'll both be alive and well in May.
That's
right.
Thursday
at the show.
Thursday and Friday. Couple more chances.
It's actually his birthday too,
Oh,
Mike. Yeah,
shout out Mike.
It's Mike's birthday today. So
Today.
good. Good little reward, little treat, little
Absolutely,
present.
yeah.
It felt like I got him a gift.
There you go. Happy birthday to Mike. And Chris, real quick, we'll get into this more a little bit later, but we've talked so much about, and we have the Shaq sound, but about this Joel Embiid thing. So you said there's a report on Joel Embiid being investigated for what he said about the back-to-back stuff? Is that what it
not
is?
Joel Embiid specifically, the 76ers. Shams Charania just put this story out on ESPN. He says the NBA is likely to commence an investigation into the 76ers surrounding the player participation of All-NBA center Joel Embiid, sources tell ESPN. Clicking on his story here, Embiid didn't play in the preseason for what the team called to be a left knee injury management and will miss 3 games this week. The season opener on Wednesday, on Friday, their game against the Raptors, and then Sunday against the Pacers. Let's see here. This is part of the new normal for Embiid this season, according to sources strategize to keep the former NBA MVP healthy for the postseason. Let's see here. He just posted this story, so I'm not sure if he really has any information on it yet besides just the headline itself. It doesn't look like it as I kind of scroll through the article. It doesn't look like he has much of any information besides the fact that the NBA is going to investigate if there's any. I guess what I would assume is that it is, hey, you can't just openly say you're going to miss games for load management. It would have to be you're actually actively feeling pain or like have an ailment that is causing you to miss the game.
Yeah.
And I think this plays into the whole spirit of the NBA's 65 game rule was to prevent things like this. Even if you're going to be upfront about it, it really doesn't matter because it's more just about the fans showing up on that day expecting to get value for their ticket. Because like essentially the NBA could get into a sticky situation of, well, how are we supposed to justify if the fans are going to cause an uproar and say, well, if I know Joel Embiid isn't going to be there that game, why am I paying full price for this ticket?
Right, exactly. It's one thing if it just happens.
Yes, exactly.
But if it's just literally planned out, then nobody's going to buy those
It's
tickets.
like, I mean, I'm not a wrestling fan, but I would imagine like it's the difference of having this show that's going to have, I don't want to date myself, but I'll just throw a Hulk Hogan's going to be there. And then the next day it's you and I wrestling. And it's like, well, yeah, clearly I'm not getting it's this. Yeah, sure, it's still WWE, but it's not at all the same product. I'm now paying for a 500 team instead of a team that's an Eastern Conference contender.
Yeah, interesting stuff. We'll talk more about it in about 10 minutes here. Top stories at the top of the hour. Brennan Nunez has a Kevin Huerter quote, as Kevin Huerter, if you're just now joining us, has been cleared to play tomorrow. He's going to play tomorrow, and he's probably going to start. All right? This doesn't come out of nowhere, but feels like it snuck up on all of us. Kevin Huerter says, for me, it was important to be back for game one. So congrats to Kevin Huerter. Good on him for working his tail off to get back into that starting lineup. And let me tell you something, Chris. You don't think Keon Ellis has something to do with that? You don't think in some capacity he thought, all right, this dude played pretty well, and I need to not let the next season go in? And I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm just saying that motivation helps everybody. And I think that seeing Keon Ellis and what he did maybe help motivate Kevin Huerter to get back on top of just obvious self-motivation. I did think about this, though, Chris. I pulled 4 random teams, okay? I have the contracts of 4 random teams.
Okay.
And my point in all this is that you have Malik Monk, who is your 6th man. All right? Malik Monk right now is the 4th highest paid player on the team.
Okay.
We know what his deal is. And last season, he might have, before injury, he might have played more than Malik Monk, even in that 6-man role. So I know all things aren't created equal. So here on the Kings, Chris, you got Sabonis, who's the highest paid. Then you have De'Aaron Fox, then DeMar DeRozan, then Malik Monk, then Kevin Huerter. Those are the top 5 highest paid players. Next, I pulled the Lakers. You got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, your boy, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves. Then you have the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Justin Holiday, Drew Holiday. The J always throws me off because I got the little thing here. Kristaps Porzingis, and you have Derek White. Then I pulled the Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton, your boy Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis.
These don't feel like random teams.
Well, I wanted it to be as random as possible. And what I'm doing here, Chris, is that if you are a GM, can you really justify having 2 of your highest paid players come off the bench? I think that if you look at these other teams, the Lakers, all their highest 5 paid players are starters. The Celtics, all of their highest paid players are starters. The Bucks, Bobby Portis is their 6th man of the year, but again, that's one guy. So if you're the Kings, even though these numbers aren't crazy, and $17 million for Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter at $16.8 million, if you are the Kings, I do wonder if any part of this was, and it depends on what we think Mike Brown. We know that he's said Monty McNair has had a hand in how they play and things like that. How can you look at this roster and say, guys, 2 of our highest paid players are coming off the bench? We've seen player podcasts where they've literally talked about it. So is it possible that as much as it could be about what Kevin Huerter did that first Beam Team season, it also is, look, Kevin Huerter's making $16.8 million, and we already got Malik as our designated 6th man making $17 million coming off the bench. Let's at least give Kevin Huerter the go with Keon Ellis at $2.1 million and see what Kevin Huerter can do. I just pulled 4 random teams, and on all of them, besides the Bucks, who have just one 6th man, all of their highest paid players start.
I don't think so. I just don't think I don't think Mike Brown especially is thinking about salary. Maybe it's Monty McNair, to your point, but I don't think Monty McNair has that kind of influence on what happens. Like the influence that Mike Brown was talking about, or that he referenced to, was more so of crashing the offensive glass more. It wasn't necessarily, hey, you need to be playing Trey Lyles more because he is a good offensive glass crasher. I just don't think that kind of stuff really factors into the equation of starting. Like, maybe it would be more of an issue if it's the guys that are finishing the games, but I kind of think that, the starting lineup is just kind of what you feel like the best group is. Like, I don't think Thabo Cephalosha was in the top 5 highest paid players for the Thunder when he was starting for them. I get it. I kind of understand it, but at the same time, it's not like it'd be an issue if one of those guys wasn't getting minutes, but we're just talking about a starter spot. I don't think that it played that much of a factor into it.
You're saying you can still get that value of the contract,
sure.
even if they're not starting. Yeah. Look, we don't know how much of it is purely Mike Brown. And we were talking to Jason Ross during the roundtable yesterday and Draper as well. Mike Brown really does like the spacing that Kevin Huerter does bring.
Sure.
So that's straight up him. It does get confusing when it's, well, Mike, I thought you were the defensive guy and you wanted the defense to be better, and Keon Ellis can shoot the basketball. This isn't Andre Roberson here.
Right.
So there's that side of it. But then on the other side, well, we still like Kevin. So I think maybe to me, I'm wondering, not to go full tinfoil hat, because I don't think it's even that deep. You look at the other teams I read off, it's straight up. The highest paid players, all of them start, besides Bobby Portis. So maybe there's something to it, but it could just be about Mike Brown being stuck between, I want to be a defensive team. We don't really have a defensive roster, so we kind of got to just go with what we're good at. I wouldn't say excited to see, because that would mean that Kevin Huerter has struggled, but I am anxious as far as, if we do have a situation like last season, is it just us all day long saying, all right, are they going to stick with the starting lineup? There are no more HB conversations, and that's good because we don't have to have HB conversations anymore. But when this team does get stuck in a rut, that blame is going to go somewhere. That's just the reality of the situation. There could be conversations about Keegan. I feel like Keegan got a bit of a pass last season. But if this team doesn't get off to the start that we want, that they want, that everybody involved wants, anything is going to be on the table.
Sure.
And Mike Brown knows best. He's the one seeing them in practice. It does just seem a little surprising, Chris, just for Kevin Huerter. And I feel like we were pretty close to the situation. It just feels like it popped up out of nowhere. You got
for sure.
It's like you in high school, Chris, and you got the homecoming is coming up, and you wake up and you got a pimple. You know what I mean? And you're like, where did it come from? That's how I feel like.
We knew Kevin Huerter was on his way to recovery. It's not like, he went from not in the building at all to all of a sudden he's starting. I mean, we knew that he's been at training camp. He was at media day. He's been shooting. I posted a video of him getting warmed up after one of or before one of the preseason games. Like, it's just a matter of it happening about a week before I think we all anticipated. I just think we all expected he was going to miss the first week, and then there would be some sort of slow integration process. I just think that the surprise is that it's happening this week and there is no integration process.
916, did Alan just call Kevin Huerter a pimple? No, no.
Yeah, kind of.
No, not
compared
exactly.
him to a pimple.
No, not exactly like that. Top stories at the top of the hour on the other side. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings open their season this Thursday against Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip at 7 p.m.
Fans on their feet.
Listen to every Kings game all season long
On your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1. Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
There's no need to be scared of auto maintenance this October. Your local Jiffy Lube has just the treats you need without the tricks, like fast oil changes or wiper blades for the upcoming rainy season. Serving greater Sacramento area customers since 1984 with over 30 convenient locations to choose from, open daily, early at 7:30 and open past 6 p.m. at most locations. Just visit jiffylube.com to find a location near you and valuable coupons to save money too.
Hey, what's up, Sacramento? It's Kyle Draper. Turn up the cleanliness at your restaurant, healthcare, or industrial business with Alsco Uniforms, the official sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew. We've got you covered with crisp uniforms, hygienically clean linens, floor mats, and of course, mops delivered weekly. But that's not all. Alsco Uniforms also offers weekly services for first aid and restroom supplies. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Just go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's alsco.com.
It's 4th and goal. The pressure's on. The home team needs this to win it. No matter what you're up against, it's always a win at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Special finance options and trade-in offers make it easier than ever to upgrade your ride. Because at Stockton Honda, we believe everyone deserves a winning deal.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claims based on 2023 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Kevin Huerter's back. That means Dwayne Baker is back. Dwayne Baker, I've never seen somebody ride for a player like Dwayne rides for Kevin Huerter.
Kevin Huerter.
Thank you, Patrick Beverly. We'll see what Kevin Huerter does. You know what they say, Chris? The league is better when the Raiders are good. Or the league is better when the Yankees are good. The Kings are better when Kevin Huerter is good. So let's see what happens. All right. Top stories at the top of the hour. This one is a little crazy, but I'm sure it is just one of many. Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 home run ball sold for a record-breaking $4.39 million, according to Golden Auctions. It is now the most expensive ball of all time. More expensive than a Babe. Isn't there a Babe Ruth ball rolling around somewhere?
Twice signed Bambino ball. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty surprised by that. I know it was obviously like a very historic moment, never been done before in baseball history, but you would just think that maybe like inflation's crazy these days, but you would think like Bonds' record-setting ball would have been up there. You would think that maybe there's some Mickey Mantle ball or Babe Ruth ball that would be worth something. Maybe these guys are just holding on to it, and when these when their estate is selling their stuff, maybe that's when we'll see some of these things arrive. But I was pretty surprised to see that even though it was a big moment, just kind of surprised that ball sets record like that.
Yeah, I'm here. Heritage Auctions, the world's largest collectibles auctioneer. 1932 Babe Ruth game-worn New York Yankees World Series called shot jersey.
That's a jersey, though.
Yeah, I know, but $28.9 million.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking a ball for $4 million. If his jersey is, what about the ball from the called shot?
I don't know if that ball's around. I think it's, you definitely get the age factor there. It's that would be so bad at math, like 7 times the value almost of the ball is for a jersey. Kind of, maybe if that's how you're doing the math, maybe it is actually pricey enough, kind of a bargain.
I guess it's just a matter, because I'm here now. I could filter 2 balls and they're all sold.
Okay.
So maybe if it's not for sale,
right? It might just be a really tough thing to come by. It probably isn't. Once it's sold the first time, it's probably not often that it goes back on the market ever.
Yeah. So
who has $4 million to spend on
these balls? Are crusty as heck. Look at these balls.
We're just gonna go outside, rub it in the dirt, and then put it on.
Say it was Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
it was Babe Ruth.
Wow, first ever ball hit in Sacramento's Sutter Health Park.
But this is crazy to me. A 1927 Babe Ruth signed baseball.
Okay.
Make offer to owner for blank or more. Give me your guess at what a 1927 Babe Ruth signed baseball is going for.
18K.
I think it's Mills. It's got to be Mills.
Oh.
I would think, right? Is it for anything specific?
No.
Like it's not for his. Oh, okay.
I think
Then
just
maybe
a
it's-
random one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm staying at
random
18.
Yeah, if you're just, is it signed?
Signed.
Half a
5K.
down payment on a house.
I'll say
here in Sacramento.
800K.
7,000.
Oh, 7,000.
7,800.
Yeah.
For just a signed
Is it crusty?
It's not that crusty.
It's not super.
It's got to be
crusty.
crusty.
There's crustier. There is
Yeah.
definitely crustier.
All the
balls.
crusty ones are sold.
Yeah.
Oh, I want a
If
crusty
it's not
one.
crusty, I don't even believe
Right.
it.
Exactly. Could have just been a foul ball or something.
Just crust it up for me one time. All right.
Interesting.
Recently fired Jets coach Robert Saleh is back from vacation and is at Packers practice. There is a long history between him and Matt LaFleur. Can you do that? You can just hang around. You're
Well, he
fired.
also said,
Consultant, you just walk around. Yeah.
right when it happened, he said, I'm not associating with any team. I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm going on a long vacation. I'm not going to take any jobs this year. Not going to do anything. So it's really weird to see him. I mean, he just lied. Just straight up lied.
Watching though. I mean, he's not. He didn't
watching.
take a
He's
job.
holding a clipboard or something in the
He's
video.
taking notes. Maybe he's getting ready for his next job. You know, he's trying to see what other. He's been trapped in that New York environment for however many years. Maybe he's just trying to see how people do it across the league.
Small town in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
That let me tell you, that's
Jeff
not where I would
Havley.
go.
No.
That's definitely not.
Well,
where I would
definitely
go.
not you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not recommend anybody, you know, especially after vacation. I'm assuming he went to Aruba or somewhere ridiculously nice.
Ibiza.
Ibiza. Somewhere where, it's either Barcelona or
Careful.
one of these places where, you have a list. I would say that probably Green Bay, Wisconsin is got to be like 60th on the list of vacation spots that are places I would go immediately
Lower
following a
than that,
vacation.
Chris.
It's probably lower than
I'm
that.
just imagining
You're probably
defensive
naming like 30 places in California.
coordinator Jeff Hafley just
Yeah.
walking into practice
Yeah.
like, what's up, bro?
He's like, this is my Brandon Staley.
Yeah,
I guess they have
What's
some
up?
sort
What's
of
up, bro?
relationship beforehand as well, Hafley and
Just
Saleh.
Yeah,
and he's like, the video, if you can find it, he's just like walking alone, not another human in sight.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
What's up, bro? What you doing out here, Playboy?
Yeah.
You back from Aruba already?
Oh,
I heard Ibiza was beautiful. You're not still out there? So, yeah, we'll see what Saleh's doing. Can you imagine he goes to the NFC? Now the Niners got real nightmares. They got Yoga,
gosh.
Brandon
already
Staley,
did.
and Nick Sorensen.
It's over.
All right, Caitlin Clark could receive a Lionel Messi offer to play an unrivaled startup 3v3 league, which is in a full court press to sign her. That deal that brought Messi to MLS included part ownership and even a share of the Apple TV Plus revenue. I mean, I don't see any reason why she wouldn't do it, Chris.
She just hasn't had any time off, and I mean, it feels like she's doing more for the league than the league would be doing for her, I think is part of it, which is why I think it would take a Messi-like offer. She's like, why should I bring, I mean, you know, Unrivaled's been talked about for sure, and I think there's going to be some interest in watching it, but if you get Caitlin Clark in it, it immediately becomes, okay, no, this is something that you have to watch. I know they already have it on TNT, so again, there's already going to be eyeballs on it, but if you get Caitlin Clark in the league, that then, I hate to use it, but I think it is true, at least from a global perspective, like it does kind of not justify, but it legitimizes the league, I think, a little bit more. And so I just think Caitlin has to view it from a business perspective and say, I need it to make sense for me because I would much rather vacation. I literally had like 2-3 weeks off in between Iowa and then the Fever season. Why should I not just take the summer off and focus on the Fever instead of trying to make this startup women's league? Yeah, it's great for women's basketball, which Caitlin definitely champions, but it wouldn't financially make sense for her unless she's getting some sort of financial benefit from it.
Well, and I don't know if this is a great wording because when people hear a Messi-like offer, people are going to say, well, I think relatively speaking.
No, I mean, I think the Messi-like offer is that
The
he got
ownership,
the ownership. Yeah, like that was a massive. That's the only reason Messi came over to Inter Miami was because he got like a large. And it's not just like people think that it might just be, oh yeah, you get a percentage of like your team. No, he got a percentage of all of the Apple TV revenue shared for the MLS contract. Messi has a chunk of that earnings from that deal. So it's like a very unprecedented type of deal.
ESPN voted on the best arena, and what do you know? Golden One Center was voted number 1. Yes, you heard it. Sacramento, stand up. Golden One Center voted best arena in the NBA. This is what they say. Small market, elite arena. There may not be a more underrated arena in the league than the Golden One Center. It doesn't have the nostalgia of Arco Arena, which closed in 2022, but it makes up for it with top-notch food, amenities, and fan experience. This arena claims the number 1 spot in our rankings after scoring in the top 5 in all 4 categories and number 1 in accessibility and location. In the heart of downtown, the arena is surrounded by restaurants, and the food options inside the arena are worth writing home about as well. The local restaurants and breweries inside source 90% of their ingredients within a 150-mile radius of the arena, and there's even a dedicated coffee bar to sustain fans during those late-night games. With a fan base nicknamed Cowbell Kingdom, the crowd is one of the loudest in the league, a reason it ranked 5th in fan experience. Let's not forget the arena's most defining characteristic, the iconic purple beam that's lit from the top of the building after every Kings win. That feels good, Chris. Now that feels good, man.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that we go from having probably the worst, if not like one of the worst arenas in the NBA, to definitely being recognized as one of the best for sure. It's great. It's not doing much for us in terms of like bringing anybody in, but yeah, I mean, it's great for Vivek. It's great for the city for sure. That it's been such a success, because I think there's a lot of people who had a lot of questions on whether or not having a downtown arena would really do anything for the economy or for Sacramento in total. And I think it's very clear just looking down K Street that Golden One Center is absolutely the hub of Sacramento.
Great stuff there.
They also voted, you mentioned the categories in which they voted 4 different categories: accessibility and location, food and concessions, amenities, and then the overall fan experience. They took the average of those scores in the arena to make the final rank.
Speaking of food, Chris,
MSG number 2, Chase Center number 3.
See, that's surprising.
Chase Center is
I was going to say
it's
a kind of a nightmare. Everyone says, "Oh, it's right off BART." I'm a walker, Chris. All right, even prior to Achilles and post Achilles, but it is not the idea that it is right next to BART, like Oracle Park. That's not true.
Not true at all.
It's deep. It's not super deep, but it's deep.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, like, how close is it to the Giants Stadium? Like 5-10 minutes from where the Giants play, right? Like, it's kind of like it's on its own. Like, it is on the water.
The walk from
there's legitimately no parking.
The walk from BART to Oracle Park is about 20 minutes. Whew. So then you add on another 10 to 15 to get to Chase Center.
Yeah,
you got to take. Yeah, they got buses out there that you can take, but and then obviously if you park, just cough up your rent money.
And we saw in the playoffs too, if they have an earlier tip off, if it's a 5:30 tip for whatever reason, people are not going to be there. Like, it's just it's not, you cannot get off work and then deal with Bay Area traffic and find a parking spot and maybe grab a thing to eat after work and go to the game. Like, it is kind of a nightmare. I'm very surprised it falls at number 3.
Yeah, even just
probably media voting that. That's what it is.
Especially us having to go to every game. Yeah. That would be a nightmare with the Warriors. Yeah. I'm very, being in Natomas, extremely spoiled. Hop on, get off on J Street, and just keep it pushing. Chris, you had some of the new food items.
Yeah.
That are going to be debuting at Golden One Center. And I see them as well. Cajun chicken sandwich, I'm into that. The Thai curry chicken bowl, I'm into that. A chicken gyro, I'm into that. The beef dip, which is slow roasted seasoned beef topped with local provolone cheese and horseradish aioli on a Village Bakery roll on the side of au jus. Grilled ham and cheese. There you go. Don't sleep on a grilled ham and cheese. A porchetta sandwich. Light the Beam churros, that's Chris's favorite.
Those are good.
And the King's cocktail, tequila blanco, prickly pear and lime juices, blueberry puree and muddled blueberries served in a souvenir shaker with a dehydrated lime garnish, that's Union wine, spirits, and ale. So it's gonna be purple, right? Purple-ish from the blueberries.
Dude, they need to serve those churros in the media room. That's
we
crazy.
Only got them during playoffs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got them during playoffs.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I was for 2 years ago.
Yes, play in.
Yeah, a little different.
Not the same name.
Yeah,
Why don't they just cut the churros in half for playing?
Or just every game instead of the cookies.
Well, why's it got to be an either or?
Yeah,
thing?
why
do them both.
Yeah,
Do them
why
both.
is this guy?
Do them both.
Well, yeah, because that's what you're saying, Chris. The media for Warriors, you get ice cream after every game.
Well,
Niners, they give
Looks
you
like
beer.
hometown buffet in there.
Yeah, that was crazy. The beer thing.
Niners, you got
give you beer,
Riders
too.
crushing beers.
Warriors give you beer.
The best thing about the Warriors too, if you're just a fan, normal person in there, you get unlimited soda. Like they have those soda walls too. That's awesome.
I think you get that everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I will say the King's soda machine is currently broken, but
it's on.
It's on. It's on.
What are you talking about?
No. If you're just a fan, like they have
you're
the soda
saying
machines.
fan.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So yes, you could get unlimited
Free refills.
Yeah,
I don't think I like that.
As a fan, that's awesome.
That's great.
Sacramento, they're healthier. They don't want you just housing soda all day.
Two injury updates here. Trey Lyles also going to be available tomorrow. And Kyle Shanahan is saying, this is insane. Don't rule out Deebo Samuel for Sunday.
Wow.
Won't practice today, but could suit up in week 8. That's from our very own Emil Ferguson.
They don't call him Deebo for nothing. Thank you very much, Deebo. Bleacher Report has ambitious trades for every NBA team. When I tell you you won't believe who they have for the Kings, you truly won't. We'll tell you who it is when we return. Stiles Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
Live and local.
With everything 49ers.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Dives from the end zone. Touchdown! San Francisco! Lob ball. George went up and caught the ball. Touchdown!
The 49ers play on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Toyota's legendary truck event is on. Hurry in for $2,000 cash back on any 2024 Tundra, or choose a great lease on a new 2024 Tacoma 4x4. Get to your Toyota dealer today, because this truck event will be Toyota. Let's go places. Offer available to TFS buyers with premium rated credit until 11/4/24.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Well, think of Sacramento. Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
The 916 accessibility is extremely top notch, especially if you know where to park. Not parking garages, unfortunately. LOL.
Well, yeah.
That's from Esteban.
I mean, you can figure it out. We've figured it out, but doesn't mean that that should be the way to do it. There should be dedicated parking for an arena. It just makes sense. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You're going to build a 18,000 seated arena and literally have 0 dedicated parking spots for that arena.
And we got a garage.
That's insane.
We got a garage, but no event parking.
No event parking. And I'm pretty sure even if you were to slip in there, I'm pretty sure it's still like 30, 40, 50 bucks or something like that. Like it's nuts. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to reveal our secrets of where we figure out where to park, but yeah, I mean, you can sneak by, but even then
shouldn't have to.
Shouldn't have to.
Yeah. Well, hey, they're number 1. So they're doing something.
Kings are number 1.
The Kings, yes, inside the arena.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Bleacher Report, Andy Bailey.
I'm talking about Chase. I was talking about Chase Center.
Oh, you're talking about Chase
That's
Center.
what I was referring to.
Oh.
That's what I think Esteban was talking about.
Got it.
Accessibility is extremely, or maybe he is talking. I thought Esteban was talking about. See, they're the same thing though. Yes, I guess there isn't any. No, I would say Doco built parking lots specifically for Golden One Center, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, I know the 24-hour lot was already there, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure. But there's plenty of parking. There's at least parking garages around Golden One Center. Chase Center, there ain't nothing.
No, you got to
There
park at
ain't
the outside lot,
Yes,
which is closer to Oracle Park.
Yes.
Don't leave anything in your car. Do not leave anything in your car.
Then you got to eat at that place it's got fine. The oysters are fine, but now you've
Ooh,
dropped
hold on.
$200.
The oysters are fine. Are they fried?
No, they're fresh. They're
Fresh
I
oysters.
do like grilled oysters though. I didn't know you used to have this for super.
Last time I had them, nasty.
What?
It's like taking a shot of salt water.
It depends
The ones I
where
had.
you get it from.
Lime.
It depends,
Lime, hot sauce.
I did hot sauce. Yeah.
You just don't like oysters. Are you talking about grilled oysters or normal?
No, they were fresh.
There's also different oysters will have different textures and it depends.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get too into it, but it depends where they come from too.
So you can eat oysters but not shrimp.
That is true.
Oh.
I can't have shrimp or crab.
Isn't that both?
What about
oysters?
lobster?
Aren't shellfish?
Lobster, you said?
Yeah.
I have not dabbled in lobster because of the crab. I don't really want to. I'm
Huh.
not really in a test it out kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I will be. I need to have an EpiPen on site, but yeah, I haven't really gone. That's just from general eating experience.
Have you had it your whole life?
To my knowledge, yeah. My sister swears I'm lying, but it's a very, very strange thing to lie about.
My
That's
mom.
just
Yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah.
Sisters
I
always
literally
think
am just
you're
like,
lying.
what are you talking? Like, I am. You're right. I'm looking for attention, and I'm doing that through being allergic to something we have.
Right.
Maybe once.
You
or
are the
twice a
guy
year.
that needs the least attention I've ever met in my life, too.
Right. It
Which is
probably
crazy
goes-
for the line of work you're in.
Yes. It
It-
goes
it is
Chris,
insane.
then me,
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
yes.
and
Then probably, yeah.
Yeah, Alan.
Then
I
like
don't-
a big gap, and then like maybe Chase and Ross.
there you go.
Yeah.
I think we're all in there. All right, guys. One ambitious trade target for every NBA team this season. I want you to guess, Chris, but it's so random. I don't even
I
know.
honestly don't know this. I have not looked at this.
I don't even. I'm trying to figure out how you can even get there. Okay. I'll start here.
Steph Curry.
It's
No, I
the
have no-
problem is it's not even that ambitious. I have multiple problems
Okay.
with who they chose.
Okay, I'm excited.
Here are the hints.
Okay.
Guard,
Gotta close my eyes.
guard,
Okay.
Western Conference. Think guard version. This is probably going to give away. Think
Well, maybe
guard
I won't
version of Draymond Green.
Okay.
Western Conference.
I thought Patrick Beverly's playing in Israel. Right
You're
now.
close.
Dylan Brooks?
No, but
A
that's
guard
close.
Version.
You
I
are
guess I'm
hot.
thinking point guard. Guard version of Draymond Green. Is it like Bruce Brown? Is it guard version of Draymond? I'm thinking point guard too, and I probably shouldn't be.
Who's the dude? Is the MMA fighter?
James Johnson.
Yeah, James Johnson.
It's when I say it, it's gonna be obvious. So I'm gonna give
Matisse Thybulle. I don't know.
No.
I'm trying to think where you're thinking.
Western Conference. This team,
and this is not a box
this
office.
team is
trade.
not a bad team.
Box office.
This team is not a bad team. 916 says John Morant. I'll give you that hint. Right team, wrong player. Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
It's crazy.
You're not talking about Desmond Bane, are you?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, I wouldn't call him guard Draymond. Oh, Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart.
Okay, there we go. I forgot he's on the Grizzlies.
From Andy Bailey, the Kings have plenty of offense from De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, and still developing Keegan Murray. It's why a defensive specialist like Keon Ellis makes sense as a fifth starter. But even with him, Sacramento is probably short on defense. And if the Grizzlies do indeed make Smart available, he'd provide a boost on that end while also adding some experience and leadership. And for a team that looks poised to play a lot of two-man game in the middle of the floor with Ja Morant and Zach Edey, floor spacers around them will be crucial. Kevin Huerter could be a nice fit. So they're basically saying some version of sending Kevin Huerter to Memphis and the Kings getting Marcus Smart. I just don't know. I don't know what is ambitious. When I hear ambitious, I'm thinking Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't feel like Marcus Smart is like the home run swing, all or nothing.
Yeah, no,
they're going
this
chips in
is-
the middle of the table. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I would just first initially probably push back because, and I'm kind of even internally debating it because I would think that the Kings wouldn't want to do it because Devin Carter is essentially that mold.
And
but
no mention of Devin Carter here.
Yeah, the part is I don't know if you even should because we don't know if Devin Carter is going to play this season, A, and B, we don't know if he's even going to be good. So should you not make a move based off of what you're hoping to see, or should you be proactive and just make the move and figure it out later? At least, hey, you're looking for a guy like Marcus Smart. You were hoping it would be Devin Carter. It's a Family Guy thing, but it's like, hey, I can either give you this boat or you can have what's in the box. And you're like, oh my gosh, the box is so enticing. It might even be a boat. It's like, well, or you could just take the boat. So you could either, say, oh my gosh, Devin Carter, we have Devin Carter. He could be a player like Marcus Smart, or you can just go out there and get a Marcus Smart. That's where I think the Kings probably would, they'd probably pick the box in that situation. I think that they would say, no, we have a Marcus Smart at home, and that Marcus Smart is Devin Carter, or at least we hope it will be. That's really the only pushback that I would have, because I do think Marcus Smart on its face, I think would be a really good addition to the team. I think him and Keon would probably be the scariest backup backcourt, I was going to say of all time, but we'll just say in Kings history.
There you go. Yeah. So maybe it's not as ambitious as we thought, but not as bad as I personally.
They probably weren't thinking Kevin Huerter starter either. They're probably thinking like, oh, it seems like Kevin Huerter's on the outside looking in. It's a spare piece for them and a piece that the Grizzlies might not know what they're doing. But if Kevin's going to be the starter, like I kind of think that probably changes things, because that tells you where Mike views Kevin.
Around the NFL, we go on the other side. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right out of the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large, because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
The first big sale of the year on the all-new 2025 Silverado is on at Meta Chevy. With $8,000 off MSRP after rebates, every new 2025 half-ton LT, RST, LTZ, and High Country in stock at Meta Chevy. And Meta Chevy has the largest selection of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Meta Chevy. Now that's big, huge. MetaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, lease, and some offers. 103124. Source internet search and 1724.
Don't miss Stoney's Rockin' Radio's Halloween bashes this weekend. That's right, Stoney has Halloween costume contests each night, including Sexiest, Scariest, and Best, and a superhero/villain contest this Sunday night. Winners get a dash for cash on the dance floor, free late night food, country dancing, and Halloween fun all weekend long. I'll see you on the dance floor.
The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is your unsurpassed spot to find the hottest golf gear, best pricing, and elite expertise. Every club on the shelves can be tried for free on the driving range. 3 TrackMan units and a Hagen Oaks team of skilled fitting professionals provide the finest club fitting experience. Our personable Super Shop staff will show you the newest to help you look and play your best. You love golf. The Hagen Oaks team loves golf too. Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at Business 80. Learn more at hagenoaks.com or 916-481-GOLF.
Don't let summer energy slip away. Live the active life you love year-round with a personally fit arch support system from the Good Feet store. Precision engineered to support all 4 arches. Good Feet puts your feet in a more ideal, comfortable, and pain-free position. And Good Feet arch supports are now HSA and FSA eligible. Book a free fitting at goodfeet.com or come in and get a free pair of OS First Performance socks. Free. Normally a $25 value at the Good Feet store.
Get in on the action at Sky River Casino. With over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and a thrilling high-limit room, you'll enjoy a casino experience on a whole new level. Just minutes from Sacramento, right off Highway 99 in Elk Grove. Join in the fun. Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Did you know that replacing garage doors is the biggest return on investment homeowners can get on improvements? Jason Ross here, and let me tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, a family-owned and operated company with third-generation owners that's been in business for 71 years right here in Sacramento. With new garage doors from Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, you'll not only get the wow factor, but you'll also know that you're working with a well-respected and proven company. Residential and commercial, brand new garage doors, or repairs to existing doors, they do it all. Take advantage of their free at-home estimates on new garage doors or check out the showroom with no appointment needed. And while you're at it, mention me, Jason Ross, or Sacktown Sports and receive $100 off a new garage door paired with a new garage door opener. Check out their website at ohdsac.com or call them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
You're just now joining us. There is a chance that Debo will play this weekend. Dude is a warrior. There is a chance that he will play this weekend. And that begins our segment of Around the NFL. All right, Chris, around the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins has $8 million remaining on the final year of his contract. It is largely expected the Titans will be retaining a portion of salary per this trade with the Chiefs, who currently hold around $4 million of cap space in 2024. DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. It is possible and being reported that they may also get Hollywood Brown back during the playoffs, right before the playoffs. Do you think, well, first of all, do you think that they'll three-peat? And second of all, should we start talking about them going undefeated?
Whew. I don't know. I mean,
because I feel like nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, no, it feels like this is around the time where teams start to kind of, at least, the conversation gets started. Can it happen? There's been no conversation, and maybe it's because of the fact that they've won all of these games so close that people are just like, okay, it's not like they're dominating, and it feels like every week they're just going to roll through whoever their opponent is. Every week has been at least close, and at least it's been there's been witching hours, as Scott Hansen would say, in most of those games. But let me see here.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead. Lay it out. Lay it out.
So they go to Vegas. I know Vegas has been one of the few teams to beat the Chiefs.
What they'll tell you.
I'm just, they'll tell you over and over again. Yeah. Not really convinced there. Bucks now, and I saw a report that maybe the Bucks are interested in Cooper Kupp, but right now they have no wide receivers. Yeah. Okay, they have Cade Otton, and that's about it. and Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bucks go to Kansas City. Those are 2 W's. Broncos at Chiefs. You could convince me that there's some trip up there, but
Maybe.
I don't believe that. Then, Chris, this is the one.
Yeah.
So let's say they win these 3.
Smack dab in the middle of the season.
They go to Buffalo. They beat the Ravens before they were beat up.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to go to Buffalo with Amari Cooper and the new look Bills. After that, you get the Panthers, you get the Raiders, you get the Chargers, who are just awful offensively. You get the Browns, then you get the Texans. December 21st, you host the Texans, and you go to Pittsburgh. So, Chris, based on how they're going to be, they're probably going to be favored in all of these games. Maybe not the Bills game,
right? Because
I feel like
Buffalo.
There are 3 games that you're worried about as far as the unbeaten thing: Bills, Texans, and Steelers.
Yep, I agree.
That's it. That's actually crazy.
I agree. I think the only thing that might hold them back is just like, do they really even want to go undefeated? Like, especially with the talent on the like, of course, everyone wants to go undefeated, but like, there's always that thing that hangs over their head, and then it becomes, okay, like, are we almost playing conservative because we're just playing not to lose instead of playing to win? I think that it'd probably be best if they take a couple losses, but or at least just one loss, just so you're not talking about it. But I agree that there's really only 3 tests that really stick out as moments where they could lose. But it's just crazy because this doesn't feel like even close to the best Chiefs team we've seen in total. It's definitely the best defense they've been, but the offense is, again, the thing that the bread is buttered with, and it just feels like the offense has been fine. But if I'm not mistaken, Patrick Mahomes leads the NFL in interceptions, so
he
it
does.
just hasn't looked the same this year.
Steve Spagnuolo, possible MVP of that team right now.
He might get the Buddy Ryan treatment. He might go on the shoulders.
You know what, Chris? I'll tell you this much, since you're such a Wardell, Stephen Curry hater,
huge.
I'll tell you this much: if Patrick Mahomes goes undefeated and loses in the playoffs, he would be fulfilling the prophecy of Steph Curry, who had the best season, unanimous MVP, and then blew the 3-1 lead. That would They always say that he's the Steph Curry of football.
Sure.
That would make him the Steph Curry of football. They go undefeated, lose to the Ravens.
That'd be pretty great.
But if they do go undefeated,
if
they do go undefeated, then you could probably have the Tom Brady GOAT conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't think he would need as many rings as Tom if he goes undefeated in 3 peats.
If he goes undefeated in 3 peats, I don't even know what we're doing at that point. Like, it's just, you want to crown him, please, because he deserves it, and there's not going to be really much of any argument. And that'll be interesting if you can have a walking, playing GOAT, for 10 years of his career. If it's just like, how much is he just going to add to the legacy at that point? That would be nuts.
Yeah.
Did you guys, speaking of the Panthers, Steph Curry, all that, did you guys hear Scott Van Pelt and Steph Curry?
I
have the audio right here.
Panthers.
Let's hear it.
6 seconds.
Absolutely. Go Panthers. Good luck with that.
Just laughs in his face.
Yeah.
Thought that was
Go
a
Panthers.
nice little clip.
What is it? Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Yeah, they're pounding L's right now, and so are the Raiders. Max Crosby. I really think the Raiders might be that team to mess up the Chiefs' perfect season, because that's just what they do. They beat the Ravens. Yeah, they got the weirdest record ever, and they're going to tick me off because I told them to start losing games. Here's Max Crosby emphasizing how much he wants to remain a Raider after those, I guess, confusing quotes last week. Here it is.
They've started a whole movement, pandemonium, a whole movement, like a revolution. And it's like, I'm sitting here innocently just doing what I do. Yep. And I feel like, I got to address it with my teammates. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not trying to leave. You know what I mean? I know it's a business. You know what I mean? I don't have 100% control, all that, but I want to be here. I want to be silver and black. I'll say it loud and clear. I want to be a Raider. I've said that over and over and over again. But yeah, it's business part of it too. I don't have 100% control of that, but I know at the end of the day, just seeing all the craziness, it's been insane. You know what I mean? I can't even open my phone.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts that he said, I feel like I have to address my team. It's gotten to the point where it's I have to clarify, no, I actually want to be here. That locker room must just be a mess, man. It just must be a mess.
It is. And Adam Schefter
I guess on his podcast, had on Raiders minority owner Richard Seymour.
Okay.
And Richard Seymour says, does not envision Las Vegas Raiders trading Max Crosby to the Lions or any other team. I listened to some of that. He basically said, of course, people are interested. But, I'm just getting PTSD from the Devontae Adams thing. It's just the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing all over again, and we just can't get away from it. We already talked about Robert Saleh, spotted at Packers practice. But I looked at the video during the break, and that was extremely creepy.
It's so weird.
It was very bizarre.
It's so weird. He's just standing there. He's like on the side, just like
I don't
watching.
even know how you can prove that's the Packers facility. It's really weird.
Just in some grass somewhere. He's
It
back
could
in
be
his
a
high
college.
school.
Could be Sac State.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it could be the Pac-12. All right. Bill Belichick, or excuse me, Mayo. There is a report that Mayo may be out after Gerard Mayo after in the next 48 hours. This is coming from the Kirk Minahan show. We had some sound from Kirk Minahan last week. It's going a bit viral. I haven't heard this yet. I really got to hear it because I don't know what is happening.
Sources have informed me that within the next 48 hours, Gerard Mayo will be removed as head coach of the New England Patriots.
Apparently, this is a Barstool show too, so
That's
it
right.
has some
That's right.
kind of. I don't know if that gives it credibility, but he's some dude.
So that's it.
He's a guy.
I think that's the most insane thing I've ever heard. This has been like a whole roll. Bob Kraft said the other day that he knew 5 years ago that they've been planning for Gerard Mayo to take this spot. There's no way through 7 weeks they've already changed their mind on that. That's crazy. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think Gerard Mayo's done a good job at all. They've blamed Bill Belichick, strangely, like a lot for the reasons why they're not successful this year. I feel like he's more of a company man, and I don't think Rob Kraft is going to move on from him already. That sounds insane.
Just to clarify something here, we have audio of Bill Belichick kind of talking about Mayo, but if I could just sum up, there's two things kind of brought up where Bill Belichick just essentially, it's a light criticism of Mayo calling his team soft. He's essentially saying, I would never do that. Some coaches can do that. People are obviously making a big deal about it, but he definitely has had some things to say about this Mayo thing that I don't know if it gives it some juice to he'll be let go, but maybe a lot of people around the Patriots facility aren't super thrilled with what's going on.
It's really hard to follow a legend, man. And look, the Bill Belichick thing, he's having his fun. He's making a lot of money doing his media thing, but he still wanted to coach. And I don't necessarily think that he, wanted to be done in New England. So even Bill Belichick with all those rings can still be a bit of sour grapes, Chris. That's what I'm kind of getting from this situation. And if you're Gerard Mayo, when you following a legend, it's tough. I say it all the time. Look, Didi Gregorius was a darn good shortstop, but you follow up Derek Jeter and people just aren't going to look at you the same way. Well, we will look at Whitey Gleason the same way as we always look at him, and we're going to see him on the other side for some crosstalk. Stiles and Watkins, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Keegan going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
At Elk Grove Honda, not only do we have a great selection of pre-owned certified cars at very fair prices, but every one of our pre-owned automobiles are treated with kid gloves with a 182-point inspection that covers everything from unibody to tires to brakes and engine filters. Then our certified cars receive a mobile oil change and fresh fill-up with full synthetic mobile oil. We know you have lots of choices of where to purchase your next car. Come to Elk Grove Honda, home of the 182-point inspection and mobile oil change. We're in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 at Elk Grove Boulevard.
Hey, Marvel movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Playing this week, Venom, The Last Dance, the IMAX experience. Everything will end. The best theater to experience Venom's action-packed finale is the Esquire IMAX, with its 6-story screen and heart-pounding audio.
There comes a time in every man's life where you have to make a sacrifice.
Be the first to see Venom, The Last Dance. Grab your great seats today at IMAX.com/Sacramento.
Model year end pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the model year end event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
The next election is November 5th. Vote centers open October 26th. Remember to vote early and avoid the lines. Learn more at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 800-762-8019.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Whitey Gleason joins us for the last 15 minutes or so.
We're back tonight, right? Are we doing that again?
Never.
Knights of the Round Table? Back at it? Huzzah!
Let's do it.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
why not?
Well, what did you think, Whitey?
I thought it was probably not ideal for you guys to stick around and for J. Ross to come back, but I enjoyed it. You know, Drapes and I were going to be there anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, and I was really honestly interested to hear what you guys, you know, what everybody thinks of what's coming together. And J. Ross, like, well, I got to admit, my perception here is colored somewhat by the preseason.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we talked with Jason Ross in our first crosstalk. We're the only show with two.
Yep.
We're the only show with two. And
well, fine, we don't get paid extra.
No,
for that,
we don't.
Yeah,
we
technically.
we don't. I'm actually going to walk out
well,
now.
I guess you're on it for an extra 15 minutes too.
And really, it just, you know, Chris and I were going back and forth a little bit because I had to come in there. And this is not normally the guy I am, because Chris, you know, said to me, I just want to hear you say something positive about the Kings today. I'm one of the most positive people out there about the Kings, but you walk into a situation yesterday, you got
everyone can hear the smile on your face.
You got 5 guys, you know, and it's just turning into a Kings love fest. I said, hey, somebody's got to be devil's advocate.
Go figure.
I just mentioned that J. Ross said, I'm concerned after the preseason
J. Ross
is not overly positive.
Once I kind of let everybody's guard down and say, hey, we can be real here, that's when J. Ross said, you know, what he had to say.
Yeah. Alan was, as you may have heard, somebody said, oh, you have rotation. They got 10 or 11 guys. And now it's like, no way they have that many guys.
Yeah.
They're only going to play 6 guys.
Now it keeps getting less and less.
That's what it felt like at the time. It felt like it was getting less and less.
Now, I'm trying to find I can't remember what I said when I was about to say something, and Draper just said what, and then we all just stopped for 2 seconds. That was great, man. That's
good cookies from Crumble Cookies.
That's right. There's still some.
There's still some left.
That's just
shout out Beach Hut, man.
Yeah, Beach Hut. I had more today. I had leftovers.
Very good.
Very
good.
All right, Chris, you have up the NBA slate and just some notes on some of the games for today.
Do we want to go through all the games? We will start with at 4:00. We got Pistons Pacers. That's JB Bickerstaff's first game as the Pistons coach. Also at 4:30. So all the action starting at 4:30. We got a couple more games tipping off. We got Nets Hawks at 4:30. That's going to be, of course, Jordy Fernandez's first game as the Nets head coach. Ben Simmons back on the basketball floor. And number one pick Zachary Resache gets his first NBA action in that one.
Real quick, Chris.
Yeah, stop me at any point.
Pacers, Pistons, when we did that article, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, where I think it was Bleacher Report had the first round of playoffs. One thing we didn't talk about is they had the Pacers as a 7 seed. And whether or not people are high on certain teams, the Pacers, obviously, they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. There were some injuries, things like that. But if we're not sure that the Knicks are going to be as good as we initially thought, and the Bucks are still old and the Sixers can't stay healthy, could the Pacers mess around with the 4 seed this season?
Maybe, or maybe they fall victim to the same thing the Kings did after their great offensive run, and the league kind of figures them out little bit, and they go from an all-time great offense to just a really good offense in the NBA, and they end up kind of falling back into the wayside. The Kings were a 9 seed last year in the Western Conference. That's incredibly deep. Sure, I think a fall from where the Pacers were at last year to maybe a play-in spot. It really might be. It might be a similar season for the Pacers. They played just about as close as you can to the Kings' first beam team style. It would make sense if it's a similar regression.
All right, we can continue on.
Okay. I don't have any notes on this one, but it's obviously just a really good matchup between two potential Eastern Conference playoff teams. Battle of Florida Magic versus the Heat. Again, not really any notes from that one. Bucks Sixers. Biggest note is that this should be a big game. It's going to be on ESPN at 4:30. The problem is Chris Middleton's going to be out. Joel Embiid, as we know, is out. Paul George is also out. I'm also saying Giannis is a game-time decision. I would assume he's going to play, but that goes from a very, very fun game to borderline unwatchable.
ESPN, as you were talking,
yes.
they just had the graphic that breaking news, the NBA is expected to investigate Joel Embiid's absence. And I believe, as someone pointed out on Twitter, the NBA, that's their policy. If someone's not playing, they look into it.
Yeah.
So it's not like breaking news. It's like that's what they do if someone doesn't play.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, the thing I read that into that, not necessarily what you're saying, but just the initial investigation report in general is you can't say that you're going to miss games months out before. It's like saying, oh, hey, Whitey, what's that day that you want to do dinner? Actually, I think I have a thing 3 months out. Yeah, I'm sick that day. Exactly. I'm feeling, usually in January, I start to get the sniffles. Like, it's just not going to be a good day for me. It's just crazy. I mean, that's what I read from it. And I think you're right. I mean, yes, you are right that the NBA in general investigates. If you miss a game, they want to make sure it's for a legitimate reason.
Yeah. And Daryl Morey also said, Paul George probably won't be playing back-to-backs either. So you know that they're just flying in the face of
that's crazy.
Of this the player participation policy.
Yes.
I'm also seeing I should throw it in later when they play. Never mind. I'll have a note later as well on the injury front. You also have at 4:30 you have Cavs Raptors as well, getting these East Coast games out the way. Kenny Atkinson, first game as the Cavs head coach, and we have one of our very own Davion Mitchell. Davion gets his first action with the Toronto Raptors. I will say again, I watched I don't know, maybe like a quarter of Raptors preseason basketball. They play hard. They play very hard. I don't really love the talent there, but it does kind of remind me of one of these teams that might not have talent, but on every single night, they're just going to be a nightmare to play. And who knows, in the Eastern Conference, like that might get them a 10 seed. It might get them a 9 seed. So I might actually be expecting some things out of the Raptors this year. Who knows?
Was I the only one that was looking at all the players signing their 5th-year extensions and thinking of, that was Davion. That was the class that the Kings drafted Davion from.
Yeah, we read that list out yesterday, and it's very glaring that Davion's one of the names that didn't get re-signed. Who knows? I really have no idea how the Raptors' tenure is gonna pan out. I think it is as good of a fit as you could find for a young guard like Davion, but we'll see. I mean, they have a plan in front of him. They still have a quickly So he's going to be playing a lot of minutes in front of Davion. They also have Grady Dick, who they're trying to give minutes to. He didn't play a ton last year.
I think Davion's going to be a good fit there, but I don't see Toronto recovering from the fact that Sasha left.
Oh,
that's going to leave a massive crater.
Massive crater.
Like when Durant left the Warriors.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
similar.
Sasha, he was part of that beefed up rotation last season.
That's right. At 5 o'clock is when you get Hornets at Rockets. The game everybody's waiting for.
I'm serious.
I didn't really have many notes.
LaMelo.
You have Reed Shepherd.
I
guess,
Jalen
LaMelo's
Green.
return to action. You get
Shane
Tejon Salon out there.
Tejon.
We'll see. Yeah, Brandon Miller as well. Brandon Miller. You want to talk about having crazy preseasons? Brandon Miller and Evan Mobley are the two guys I think are going to take massive leaps this year. Bulls at Pelicans, 5 o'clock. That's an interesting one. Not only is Lonzo Ball back, but he gets maybe a potential revenge game against his old team in the Pelicans. As we know here in Sacramento, the Pelicans obviously have an absolutely stacked starting lineup, and we'll see how that shakes out as they keep Brandon Ingram in the fold, and they have Herbert Jones listed at center. So we'll see how that goes. And then here we go. Ja Morant is back in Utah as they take on the Utah Jazz.
We have a guy from the Grizzlies coming on today. What questions would you ask him? Or anything come to mind? Question about the Grizzlies for a Grizzly guy?
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are trying to put them in the 4 seed.
Trade for Marcus Smart.
You know what I would ask, actually? I know in that Zach Edey preseason game, they ran like a ridiculous amount of post-ups. Just like, is that their how much effort are they going to put into making Zach Edey work versus how much do they want it to essentially be a natural fit would be my question. Because a lot of people are working
with Zach Edey. Is it going to be post-up-a-palooza in Memphis?
Post-up-a-palooza works. That definitely works. I think he would know what that means. But yeah, I mean, that's my big question with the Grizzlies. It's just how much are they going to try and force feed Zach Edey? Because that's really the only way that I see him being as effective as he was in college. Suns at Clippers. Not only is this the first game at Intuit Dome, there will be no Kawhi Leonard, which I think is a good precedent to set for the fans there, that they don't get their expectations too high for the season. I will also say Shams just put out as the initial report here was that Kawhi Leonard was going to miss the first handful of games. It's now saying that Kawhi Leonard will be missing a couple weeks here. So as that continues to get moved, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a lot of Kawhi Leonard this season. He said he's going to be, quote, missing a few weeks. So there you go. Do with that what you will. Clippers off to a Clippery start. And then at 7 o'clock, we know what Alan's going to be doing. Warriors at Blazers in Moda Center in Portland.
He doesn't even go, no, anymore. He just kind of,
hey, Kings aren't playing. Kings aren't playing. I'm locked in.
What's the reason to watch Warriors at Blazers?
I mean, it's greatness. Steph Curry. Pajemski.
I thought you were talking about Scoot.
Get it, Nate. Before we go, send us out with it. Pods. Come on, Nate. That's right.
There we go.
7 o'clock.
A tier 5 shooting guard.
The quest for 5. The quest for 5 starts tonight. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Congrats to our winner of the Sam Morrell tickets. Thanks to our callers, texters, sack chatters. Drive guys up next. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper. NBA has returned. Jay Johnson as well. Until tomorrow, secure the bag.